To all who come to this ragged place, welcome. And since you're here, why don't we start the show today? We've got Vicky Clerici, aka Makeup Billy. She is a master horror movie mask maker. You can find her at Makeup Billy. It's kind of like Hillbilly, but with makeup. How many people do you know who do this? I know one person. It's Vicky, and she was awesome. I really enjoyed our conversation. She's charismatic. She's funny. She's super cool, and she is a ragged one through and through. She's also an awesome artist who's living off of her art, which is something I think a lot of artists want to do but can't do because she is a hustler, baby, and she is making it work. And this makes her information invaluable to people. The reason I'm making this intro is to let you know that this is actually round two. We talked before. We've been doing this for a while without you. Well, what happened in the first episode was that Vicky was transmitting her internet from a bunker in the cave. She was transmitting her audio and video through underground channels on an internet that was from 1995. And so she was like, and it's just not fun to listen to from a viewer or listener's perspective. The video and audio is crazy. Unless you're a huge Max Headroom fan, you might not be into it. So that has become a lost episode that you will never see. Never. So we did a round two, and I think it went great, but I wanted you to know that's why we're kind of halfway into a conversation. I'm not going to ask her all the same questions as I asked her in the first episode. So you might miss out on some of the origin stories, but we had a great conversation. She's super fun. I hope you enjoy it anyway. And remember, this is the Ragged World. It's an adult conversation. Your virgin ears might hear something you didn't expect, so be ready for that. But without further ado, Vicky Clerici, Ragged World, let's go. Anyway, hey, how are you doing today? I'm sorry, I kind of blasting in on you just out of nowhere, but well, how are things going? You've got the new internet going. We're doing round two. Fantastic. Yeah. I can't wait. And how are you feeling? How's the day going?
Going good. It's going good. It's one of those lazy days so far. I'm going to be doing all my shenanigans after this, which is fine. You know those moments where you wake up and you're like, yeah, a little hungover. Let's chill. Let's take a big walk and then start the day.
Nice.
And I'm really stoked. Yesterday I spent like the majority of my day basically sitting there stabbing myself with fish hooks and wiring because I finally figured out Chatterer and like how I'm going to do it. But
that's it. Yeah, I saw you're trying to get the wires and the hooks there. And so you've been stabbing yourself?
So much. Yeah, those things are sharp.
That's the deal. That's the point of fish hooks. It's to hook things. So
I'm an artist, not an engineer, okay? It's like I'm learning on the fly.
All right, fine. No, it's good. It's good. I think that's cool. Like when I saw it, I said, oh yeah, this is going to be crazy. I saw it just I think 15 minutes ago or something, the Chatterer mask. And I was like, oh yeah, she's struggling with this. She's making it happen.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear it.
Sometimes you just got to push.
It's true though, right? It is true. I'm actually doing something like that myself right now. Because like I've been sucking at Japanese for a really long time, but I learn enough so that it doesn't drop. It's kind of like evaporating from a bucket sort of situation where it doesn't evaporate and I put enough drops in the bucket to keep it at a same level, but like it's never better. So I was like, okay, we're doing 30 days Japanese. All the media that I watch, anything that goes in is Japanese only, right? So like music,
so
Japanese, movies, Japanese TV shows, reading, and I'm doing like double the study, double the lessons. I'm making all of my Japanese I'm making my Japanese teacher do all these assessments. I'm like, give me an assessment, prove that let's find out how crappy I am right now, and in 30 days let's see if I'm better. And so doing all that. So,
I love it. You really have to like immerse yourself. Like this Duolingo shit, it's like, yeah, okay, this is this color, that's that picture. But it's when you start getting into the situational stuff, like I'm at the point where now it's like almost like a sentence / a story, and it's like, okay, but what is this guy doing? So you're getting the comprehension finally, rather than just like colors.
Nice. And that's in Spanish, right?
Yeah, totes. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
I don't know if I could pull off Japanese. You're wild, man.
No, well, it is what it is. I'm not pulling it off. That's the reason why I'm doing
No.
this. It's not working. I'm terrible at this. I can say like that I'm not good at it. That's like one of the great sentences I've got down, like, so I'm gonna have to start working it out. But you're right though. There's a thing about this. I don't know what you think, but I think that we often have to have something that's in multiple levels of context for us. Like I know for me, it has to make sense that I'm going to use this later sometime, or I could feel like I'm gonna, or I want to remember it in some way. Because today I was doing an assessment just a few minutes ago, and they were like, okay, we'll do a conversation assessment. She asked me, what kind of movies are you interested in right now in Japanese, right? And I like just barely got it, because the interested word, I was like, what is interested? What is that word? And like kiyomi, I think, right? Maybe. I see, already bad. So I'm like, okay, movies. And then I was like, ooh, I'm a little bit embarrassed about this, because the TV show that I'm watching in Japanese is called Oto no Chimpo ni Akeranai. Okay? Now you see, like, I remember the title. It means my husband's penis won't go in or doesn't fit. So but it's like
that's the name of the TV show.
That's the name of the show. It's a legit drama, like it's a problem. They have a problem. He's big, she's small. So and they're in love, and they get married, and they're together for like 10 years, and it still never works out.
Oh my god.
So I don't know what's gonna happen. But it's quality too, by the way. Like, it's really solid, high budget, really good writing, amazing actors, not playing games. But see, I remember the words. So I don't know. Is there anything like that you do to remember things?
I mean, like associating things with things kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe. Like attaching emotional. Yeah. I mean, especially like with Spanish, the only reason why I'm hanging on to it so hard is because I love traveling to Mexico. And like, that kind of jazz, even Dominican Republic, all those kinds of places. And it's so much more fun when you can actually communicate with people, right?
Way better.
So,
way better.
And again, there's so much good like Spanish horror. So like I've been watching a lot more of that. And like you get the subs at the same time, obviously, but more and more I'm finding like I could be painting my maps and shit, and like I know what just happened. Yeah. Oh, it's great, right?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, well, on that note, what I have a question for you. What kind of stuff are you consuming that you'd consider positive, and is there anything also that you're taking in that would be considered negative? And by consuming, I could mean, really anything. We could mean media, but we could mean food. We could mean the way you're spending your time. So, is there anything that comes to mind for you that you're taking in that you think is really positive for you, and then maybe the other side too?
I would say like taking in wise, like I've been going outside a hell of a lot more since we adopted this dog. Like, as a Montrealer too, it's like, fuck that. It's minus this. I ain't going outside. But the amount of, fresh air and actually physically moving and stuff, I'd say that's been huge. You know what I mean? Rather than just being cooped up inside. I've been watching a hell lot more psychological thrillers than horror recently.
Ooh.
Yeah, still good shit though. And like, I find my movies and stuff, like every time in the morning, I need my caffeine, I need my movies, and it keeps me inspired. You know what I mean?
So you're watching movies in the morning?
Yeah.
Like horror movies first thing with coffee?
Yeah.
Holy
like, it's
shit.
5 a.m. and I got like fucking I spit on your grave on. And John's like, is someone getting raped? I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you, laddies. Oh, a morning rape with you. A morning rape with me coffee. Ha ha ha.
It wakes you up, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But consuming wise, like that's a really interesting question. Because like I love also music. I'm always playing like Mixcloud. It's a lot of like DJ sets and people make mixes and shit. So I find it stimulating to keep hearing new shit.
Okay.
But like social media and stuff, I tend to, like it's business for me, or like interacting with friends, or I don't keep on it for too long, because you do fall, you fall deep in wormholes, black holes,
You're
all
right.
the holes.
I think all the holes.
So many holes.
Heyo. So, yeah, no, definitely. I feel you on that. I've been doing the same thing. I feel like it definitely becomes addictive. It's like you're there for no reason. You could be grabbing, especially since it's on your phone. You kind of just grab it and put it this close to your face, and and it's like whatever. And so yeah, for me too, I did the same thing. Like if I want to talk to the person on the podcast, then that's why I'm on Instagram or wherever, and I'm checking them out and figuring them out. So that's the reason why I saw your hot bikini Valentine's Day image, and not because I'm trolling the Instagrams for sexy ladies. So that's the reason. Hot.
No judging.
Yeah, no. This is the ragged world. It's about reality. So we don't have to lie here. Like that's the thing too. I mean, like our last thing, I certainly, I don't know if this is the thing or not, but I certainly was like, we're definitely not pretending like this is the first time we met or something. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's ask the same questions again. Like, hey, those questions are old. I'm never gonna do that. Like it's never gonna happen. Everybody who watches is gonna be like, oh, okay, there was an episode that we never saw and we'll never see probably.
That's it.
Yeah, so no.
It's kind of crazy though. It's like first episode with you, and I'm like, do I know you? Are we related somehow? Way back where.
It's way back.
Sometimes you just vibe. It's pretty awesome.
I felt the same way. Like you're like, so I said you're a crazy guest. I mean, even with like the glitching and stuff, like the max headroom glitching type of thing, it seemed very, very easy. Like, even with that, I felt like our conversation went really well. And I'm telling you, I was stoked to have another conversation. And of course, at any time you want to come on and you feel like, hey, I want another podcast out there, I need some content, I need some consumable content, then then come at me with it, because you're a crazy good guest. Awesome. And you're exactly the type of person that I look for to talk to about this, because again, Ragged World is the outsider, man. Ragged World is the wild ones, the people who are doing something else. And I mean, you're making Halloween masks. I call them Halloween masks. I'm sorry, it's not the case. They
are Halloween masks. Let's be real. That's what I write on customs papers. You're getting a Halloween mask.
Does Vicky still making her Halloween masks? Sorry, I'm. Oh, geez,
it's okay. Hold on. Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know. Probably. I mean, I know a lot of my family's from like Laval and Saint Eustache, so we're like Italians. So maybe somewhere along the line, there's a mix. But hey, here's a question: how do you organize your time? Because you're talking about how you wake up, drink the coffee, watch raping and horror movies. And then, and people getting their guts, their intestines torn out on a wheel or a bicycle pedals or something. And then what happens?
I'm OCD about listing. I love physically writing something down, because it gets in your brain too. You're like, oh no, I physically wrote it. So now I gotta do it, and it's fun to cross things off. So I got my little faux calendar. I know all you folks are on Google and apps, and I'm like, let me just write something down, with a pen. So I do that. And I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. So I usually, workouts in the morning are nice too. It's a good way to get started, get shit going. And then I just try to allot my time loosely. Because I don't know about you. I don't even like myself telling myself what to do.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
I'm
absolutely.
This has to get done at some point today. And I'm like, go.
I'm 100% with you on that. I can't stand it if I'm like this, and this, and you're doing it at 10 p.m. or whatever. Why would I be doing it at 10 p.m.? All right, but...
Yeah.
Like, no, pick the worst possible time for that joke, you know? Like, I'm like, I could have said 10 a.m. or anything else. It's like 10 p.m. You're doing your laundry, or like, I don't know, whatever. That went off the rails.
uh,
Never mind. I
I don't
understand
know
where you're
about
coming
you,
from.
but like I've tried that. Like I've tried doing it to the point, okay, like maybe really follow it like tightly like that, and I just get cranky. And you get upset, right? Like if you list yourself out like a goal and you're like, well, fuck, it's 9:30 already. I'm not gonna work out anymore because it's not nine. You know, our minds are fucking weird sometimes. So,
I think I was
you know,
listening. You're right. I was listening to Jerry Seinfeld on some interview, right? And he talked about
nice.
like he was talking about writing, and I
Hmm.
felt it was really helpful to me because he talked about how you got to treat your mind like kind of like a dog that you can train, where you give it a treat when
Yeah.
it does the thing you want it to do, and
Hmm.
that tends to be the better way. And you got to be nice to yourself. Like if you sat down and did your writing, well, it's hard to do, so why don't you give yourself something that you wanted, or like not treating yourself in that rough way, but finding
Hmm.
a way to still do the things that you wanted to do in the day. I found that super helpful because it's like, okay, I know I
Hmm.
have around 3 or 4 priorities that I have to do, and I'm going to do those
Yeah.
things. So, like, just say those are the things you're going to do. They take the time they take. They have surprises that you're not going to expect, and
Hmm.
that you got to be ready for that. And I think that's what you're saying is like you got to give yourself
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
time and
It
that
was like
space.
yesterday. I was like, I gotta finish these chatters, blah blah blah, and it like literally, I didn't even finish one. I I have five of the six, five of the six things attached, and I'm just like, fuck, why is this taking so long? But sometimes shit takes longer than it does. It's like you can't get mad, you know?
I
It's
think
like
you're
fuck
right.
it.
In artistic endeavors, it's like that, especially. Like you just don't
Yeah.
know how much time something's going to be, even
Hmm.
though you think you do, but it's like oftentimes longer. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
I like
crazy.
the, a huge thing too is like a lot of the stuff online. I love looking up like motivational shit here and there. And a lot of it, they talk about it. Our brains are muscles, right? Like there's also that thing where you can just be like, just fucking do it. Like just a bit every single day, even if it's like, you know, a teeny tiny bit kind of thing. And you're just like, fuck man. Like I find with creativity, that's tough. It's tough. It's a tough muscle to fucking, I like being inspired. I gotta have my music on. I gotta be in the zone. I gotta feel good. Do you find that for
Mm.
writing?
I find that it is exactly like that, except for you can like find your ways. I'm wondering if you have a way that you do this as well, because for me, for creativity, like
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I did was I wrote. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I wrote 60 comics in 60 days. Like I wanted to learn comic book writing, right? Because I had
Mm-hmm.
only written novels, and I thought one of the big practices they taught you how to do, like when you look up structure, is like writing like a 1 pager or a 3 pager, something like that. And like
Mm-hmm.
that way, if you can tell the beginning, the middle, and end in like 6 panels, then it's actually a little tougher than having the extra space to do it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to practice this. I'm usually long-winded. I write a long ass novel and then I got to cut everything out of it because it's way too long. But in
Mm-hmm.
this case, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 30 comics in 30 days. I ended up doing 60 because I enjoyed it so much.
Ooh,
But
that's
before I
so
ate,
fun.
before I did anything,
Yeah.
oh, well, thank you. And so before I did anything else, I wrote. And so I'm definitely
Yeah.
not inspired right away, but I sat
Mm-hmm.
down and kind of wrote my way through it, where it's like I
Yeah.
would sit down and go, a dog, cloud. I was like trying to get my brain running. I was just like write the words that
Yeah.
come to my mind, even if they didn't connect. I was
Yeah.
like dog, cloud, dog on a cloud. Maybe kind of China, dog on a cloud flies to China. Like then I like obviously scrap that at some point because it's trash, but it starts to roll until there's like a
Yeah.
combination or a sentence that would work. So I don't know. Do you have a way of like obviously you say you put your music, you get in the
Yeah.
zone. So it sounds like you're putting
Yeah.
yourself into the mindset of doing your creativity, even if you were not initially inspired. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's, sometimes like, yeah, I think, just doing it, just going and doing it is what's key. So I find once you're in it, once you're sitting there, once you're squishing clay, once you're painting things, even if you're not feeling it, I find you fall into it quickly.
I didn't ask you about sculpting. You mentioned squishing clay. So I was thinking, like, how did that, why is that funny, first of all? And
I don't know.
like, ha, like, all right.
Me always. Sorry.
Clay.
I'm very excitable.
Hilarious. Like, I feel funnier. Like, I don't know how to put that joke together, but I'll have to do this again. You're going to make me end up doing like stand up or something. I'll have confidence and I'll be like, so what's the deal with clay? Nothing. Crickets.
I'm like, yeah.
Just make it like you're there supporting my endeavor. Like,
Always.
this guy's great. Don't you think? Like, no, he sucks. Clearly he's the worst. Anyway, but yeah, so how did you get into clay? What a stupid question. All right, so how did you get into?
I mean, it makes sense.
I understand that if you're going to do this, you like masks and whatnot, you generally do a clay outline first, I think. But was that how it began, or was it a different path?
You know what's kind of funny is how do you say it? Like, I always got exposed to clay in weird ways. Like, I remember going to day camps as like a kid, and like, everyone's like, oh, I want to do rock climbing, I want to do this, and then I'm like, can I go do the pottery thing? Can I go hang out and like, I had that interest growing up, Play-Doh, all that bullshit, when you're young, like when you're super young. And then it was CJEP. I was always in media arts, so I did so much radio, like video, and then it was like the last elective I could have taken, and I was like, fuck, hand building, ceramics, and I was like, yo, that's sick. My teacher thought I was a psychopath. They're like, you're very like Francisco Goya, and I'm like, who's that guy? Anyway.
My exact sentiment.
Right? Spooky, weird Spanish artist. Anyways, always like contorted things and super good. But fuck, it was one of those things where I was like, no, I really like doing things with my hands. And then I finally was like, fuck this. Like, I really just want to learn how to do math.
Wow. So you're saying you kind of whittled it down into like where you wanted to be. I guess that's what we do, right? As people in general, you took like, you started somewhere with you gave me see, this is why you're the best guest in the whole world, because you really started at the beginning, like, Play-Doh and stuff when we're kids. Everybody plays with that, when silly putty, which I used to love. You stick it on like a newspaper, which doesn't exist anymore. And then it would have like the thing of the image of the newspaper. But you started from when you were a kid, and like then it's like, okay, and then in school it eventually was at the summer camp, and then at the school. So like there's so much story there. I appreciate that. So that makes me wonder then. So since you did whittle things away, what's something that you used to care about when you were young, like, or the things that really were mattered to you, and something that you've dropped over the years from any time between when you were a kid to now? Is there anything that pops up into your mind that's like, okay, I carried this kind of thing with me, and this is the type of person I thought I was, or this is the type of thing I thought I was doing, and you eventually dropped that and said, this isn't helping me, I'm moving on, and because I know for sure, like, you're doing your work, this is all you're doing right now, you do your mask work, and you're living off of your art. So I'm sure that somewhere along the way you had to make choices like that. So that's why I asked the question.
Yes, but I'm also insane. Like, I'm one of those people who's just very creatively interested in random things, right? So it's like, I'm big into my video games. I always have been. I'm big into, obviously my art, but there's, like, I'm somebody who plays guitar still. It's, there's those kinds of, I need those outlets around me. Too many hobbies, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody asks, it's like, man, like, I just love being constructively passing my time. I'd rather pick up a guitar than sit there and scroll, endlessly through social media. I don't know. Anyways, but man, I'm thinking, like, I tried to get into snowboarding. Mistake. Like, I
Oh,
tried twice.
really?
Yeah,
It didn't work out?
no. I may
What,
have just been learning it backwards. You know, you could be like goofy or standard. And,
were you doing goofy?
I don't remember.
What was
It's
your
been a
left foot
while.
forward or your right?
Oh, dude, it's been so long.
What, you don't remember
don't
every
remember.
detail of a thing you did
No, I
once?
don't. I
Come
tried.
on, Vicky. Jeez.
But you know, like outdoor sports were such a thing for kids growing up and shit. And now it's like I wanted to so bad. I like invested in all the equipment, like worked hard, got my stuff, and I was like, I can't. I keep falling. And what if I broke these babies? How would I make these? It makes me so
you're
sad.
right. So that's it.
Oh.
You dropped snowboarding.
I dropped snowboarding.
You dropped snowboarding. I'm with you.
I used to paint. Like, I don't know.
You're not really doing that anymore.
Different paint.
You definitely paint. There's no way around it. You do airbrush painting constantly. That's some of the funnest stuff I think that people should watch. I think a lot of your videos that I think are cool is when you're like the process of doing something, the process of making it. You're explaining what you're doing. I like that a lot. Maybe I'm old or something and I like to hear how things work, but I never would have known most of the details. So I find that those videos of yours are really cool. I'm not disparaging the awesome bikini pictures at all, because that's probably my favorite, but I think the airbrush stuff is awesome. Watching you do airbrush, watching you mix the paint to when you're splattering, I think is super cool.
I
So,
think it's
I think people should
important,
check that
right,
out.
to have a melange of it all. Like, I think people should be able to see the whole process. And even like my hot pictures too at the end where it's like, well, this is it. It's come together at this point, you know? But it starts as like a messy, hot pile of mess, you know, and develops, progresses. It's kind of crazy. It motivates me to watch that shit, you know? Like, I'm like, yay, I got this far. Keep going.
Nice. That helps you too, like just seeing your own thing and saying, hey, look, I've done this. And it's true, because we could forget.
Totally.
I think I definitely forget what I've done in the past sometimes. I think I forget that it was a mountain and I'm like halfway up the mountain and I did start at the bottom, but like it always feels like the bottom sometimes, like because you got to this new standard in your mind. Maybe, I don't know if you've ever felt that way.
No, absolutely. I think it's always good to have your little points of like, you know, look back to move forward in a sense. Is that a good, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
You know where I'm going with it.
Celebrate the successes as well. I think that
Totally.
maybe it can be too easy to focus on the negative stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
That's without question. But I mean, at the same time, going forward, right? Like, what kind of goals do you have now? Like for this coming year, it seems like your internet is back up and running. You're ready to rock. You're doing Family Feud streams. You can upload videos again. So what kind of how do you see this playing out going forward? Like what?
I can't wipe
stuff do you
this
really want to do?
shit-eating grin off my face. I'm so excited. It's like I feel like the world, you know, like it was in Scarface, the world is yours.
Yes.
It's
everything
crazy,
in it.
you know. That's it. Well, sprinkled on top. Like I just feel like finally, okay, now that our shit's up and running too, I just feel like I could finally share as much as I wanted to this whole time. You know what I mean? It's tough, man. We also live, you know, far away, and I was so used to going on Reddit and doing my live streams, explaining what I'm working on, and it also holds me accountable too. You know, like, well, if I'm gonna go live and paint something, I have to go live and paint something. I find it a good kick in the ass too sometimes when, like, say if you're not feeling it too much one day, well, shit, you know, go enjoy it with other people too. So goal wise, fuck, I just want to keep uploading so much shit on fucking YouTube. I want to make that, you know what I mean? I want to make that not just a channel, but a place where people could come together to see what's up, you know, not just like, here's my art, also informational, also, you know, support, all that jazz for folks, you know?
Oh, I understand.
And obviously get tons more shit done. Like, I got so many new things I want to make. Yeah.
Make up Billy goals, get shit done.
Oh, get shit done.
Nice, nice, very
It's
nice.
key.
You know what? I've been thinking about something particularly whenever I look at your stuff, and again, like I talked about this too much. The Valentine's Day post, it's because it's fresh in my mind. You got you got a hammer in your hand, right? You're wearing, I think it's the prom date mask, if I'm not mistaken, or is it something a different one?
So that is my her mask. So remember the movie Mannequin we spoke of?
Mm-hmm.
So I sculpted a mask, and it's called Him and Her. It's actually originally a two-headed mask, but there's a male face and a female face. The female face I based off of the girl from Mannequin. I forget. Yeah. But yeah, that's
I'm thinking of Splash. It's like Daryl Hannah, right? So who's the mannequin girl?
Mannequin girl. Fuck, I'm not
going to derail your story on that. Yeah,
I know, but anyways, she's a babe.
Yeah, she was smoking hot.
But my Him and Her mask, like that's been a thing. I've never sold either of them. I've been asked. So many people are like, please, and I'm like, no, this is mine. Like this is my character. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's why she comes out on special occasions like Valentine's Day.
Is that like is that what you're wearing then in the Our Story movie? There was like a little short film I think that I see you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
that's the same one.
Now I recognize. So it's sort of what's the deal with that? Is it sort of like a love story between him and her, but the horror love story? That's what what do these two masks represent then? What's the intrinsic beauty of these two masks? How about that?
They're so plain yet terrifying. They're so normal yet human-like. I've really like I'm holding on to these one because she's like my character, you know, in a sense, and two because I would love to make a wicked ass horror movie with them. You know, killer couple, fucking I don't know. I gotta sit there. I gotta keep letting those juices flow, but I have high hopes for them. You know.
I'm with you. What I think is cool about those, like particularly some of your masks, those in particular, and some of the other ones too, that have like in a way less features than say like you could look, it's all totally burned face like a Freddy Krueger or something like that. It's like there's a lot of detail there, super cool, but having the details that you do have on something that's been sort of smoothed out. So maybe the lips aren't really there and they should be, and kind of in a way, like this is a cliche way of saying, but like less is more in that regard.
Absolutely.
I find those ones to be more scary. Yeah.
And there's something strange about things that are semi-human but not. Like our brains recognize faces constantly, right? That's just a thing. So, you know, turn the lights out in a room, you're gonna be like, ooh, I think I see something, you know, it's kind of thing. But I find with those kind of subtle masks, it's like, your mind's like, why? Like the Valentine's Day picture, people are just like, hot, but whoa, you know, like you're just like super confused.
That's why I followed you in the first place. You know, it was like bikini, scary face. I love it. We're doing this. Follow.
Love it.
But you're right. Like I don't know if you can see that behind me or not. There's this guy. It's like a jiu-jitsu training dummy.
Here I am moving like this, but I'm the one who's covering.
Yeah, no, you're covering. Oh, okay. So you can't see it, but this here is the dummy. I call it zero tomato because it's like he has a zero on his face and like this circle that's like the Japanese flag in a sense. So it's a target. You're supposed to punch it. But anyway, I'm like, he's Japanese now if he's going to be sitting there. But since it doesn't have a lot of features, it is scary in the dark. Like a lot of like my wife will be like, what the and just so like just the featurelessness of it in a way makes it like who's the shadow figure sitting in the corner for some reason. So
Oh,
I don't
you
know.
have no idea how many times I walk down here and like, ugh. It's like you just, there's those moments where you're just like, oh fuck, I forgot, like especially if it's the shape of a body, like the dude you have hiding there, you're like, oh my goodness.
It's fully there. No, you have no right to be scared of your own work. That's what I'm going to say.
It's a weird, I don't know how I
Natural
forget
reaction.
these are down here. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I forgot.
Oh
Okay.
man, on Halloween, it was so funny. He let me have free reign of the house. It was like finally I can decorate, and I stuffed I stuffed together this giant body and sat him in our front room, and I put my it mask on him. So you have this huge Pennywise who's just kind of sitting there, but like, dude, I never got used to it. Neither did he. So you keep walking, it's just like, there's something there.
Hey, spooky, scary skeletons for Halloween. That's what I'm saying. That seems pretty great.
So good.
Oh, it's so dope getting scared constantly.
Oh, love it.
No, really good. No, that's really cool. It sounds like you have a lot of fun. Like, and it sounds like you guys have like a good connection when it comes to this kind of stuff. Not that you have to like the same things or anything like that, but do you? I guess. Well, I'm sort of going way off on a tangent here into a relationship world, but you mentioned it, so I'm thinking. I'm thinking. Do you? I don't know if you guys like a lot of the same stuff, or do you see the world the same way, or like you feel like you experience the world the same way, regardless of the objects in it or the superficial things in it. Like this, make of this horrible question what you will, but that's I'm wondering like
The
how
answer is potatoes. Okay.
perfect.
No. Honestly, like we're very different people. We're different, but we're very similar. I think how we connected so hard was the fact that we both love being silly and we both love experiences. I think you need to be with somebody where you can go out to a bar and also end up including 7 more people in on your conversations who you never met in your life, and you could have a good time with that. That's that kind of openness and wanting to share and learn from people. Like, not everybody's like that, right? A lot of people don't even want to give you the time of day. It's just I don't know.
That is
So,
true. Are you the kind of person
yeah.
who like talks to the cashier at the store or something, or how does that go?
It depends. It depends on the situation. I'm also not anxious. Like
social
anxiety's
anxiety
real,
kind of?
okay? Oh my god, yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to, like, I'm feeling shifty. I don't want to see anybody.
I'm feeling shifty. She's like, I might
You
shank
ever have a
somebody. Like a hobo.
shifty shake. Like days where you just want to keep your shades on and people are like, it's raining and it's dark out. Like, what are you doing? And you're there, you're like, I'll take 7 of these.
I'll take 7.
I don't know what they are though.
Why do you need this many packs of plastic knives?
Have a wild party.
Oh my God. I do not deign to respond. All right.
Plead the fifth.
That's it. I'm having a party with my Pennywise dummy.
Oh my god. But you know what? He's so tolerant of me too. Like I already take up a lot of space with my art. You know what I mean? Like, again, my hobbies take up space. Like, I love working out. I have a whole workout room. Like, and he's like, that's cool, man. Like, do you? I'm like, thank you.
No, that's amazing. I feel the same way. Like if you look around here, there's a bunch of exercise gear there. I've got this whole studio thing here, and it's like never is there a problem. I think you're supposed to be that. You're supposed to be helping each other out in life.
Absolutely.
And like if you and I asked you that question because that's something I don't think a lot of people really have. To be honest, when it comes to relationships, it's sort of like more of a business deal or something, or like, we're good enough friends and we can have sex with each other, and that way we could have kids and a house and a job or whatever. And like we
look great on paper. It's like,
You're
No
right.
thanks.
You're absolutely right. Like the on paper thing, we have so much in common. It's like, well, what does that have to do with anything in a way? Like, wouldn't, in a
Yeah.
way, like, isn't a relationship complementary? So maybe the other person should be totally different, but they feel the same, if that makes any sense at all.
No, I think, relationships are so tough. And I find we live in a society that really forces it down our throat. Like, go get married, go have kids already. Like, I've had people approach me like, you should really think about like kids at this point. And I'm like, do you know how much fucking glue I sniff? Like, if I had a kid, it's going to come out like, like, number one. Number two, like, maybe I just want to hang out and have a good time. Like,
I just want to sniff glue, man. So this one just came out in this podcast is like, Makeup Billy is an addict. Straight up, I asked this question about relationships, and you were like, do you know how much glue I sniff? It's so great that we complement one another. I sniff so much glue that I'm never having kids. Woo!
I'm glad you had me on again. I am probably the
thrilled.
most random human being.
Nah, you're my favorite. You're my favorite. It's fantastic. That's I shouldn't say that, because then the next person that comes on who's cool, I'm gonna say you're my favorite. You know?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be like,
the two of you are you're a liar. You're a phony. You're a Hollywood phony. But no, like my favorite kind of person is what I mean. Like there's not enough time in life, I think, to be fake or be trying to do what other people want you to do. No, it's interesting that we get stuck in kind of that stuff. It's weird how that outside story, I don't know, like the story of the world, I guess, or the story of, you said, we live in a society, man. So like that society, the man, stepping down on us in a sense in that regard, and being like, you need to have the kids, you need to make sure you get the job, and you need to make sure that you pay your taxes and get a house. You'll be able to get your mortgage and pay that. You'll pay double for that, and you can do this kind of stuff, and you need to do those things. And it's like, well, okay, can we say why? And if you say why, it's like you're stupid or something. Like, well, why do maybe I don't want to do that personally. No, you totally do. Trust me. It feels like that's the story of the world in a way. Like we can get swept up in that river of nonsense, and then what are people like us supposed to do? What are the ragged the ragged ones, if you will, the wild ones? You just don't fit that mold, and then you're a bad person or something? Like I don't know. It's weird. I'm rambling because that's my thing, but
no, you're allowed.
I am curious. Well, thank you for your permission, Vicky. I wasn't asking. No. You will sit there and listen to everything I have to say.
This isn't even being recorded. I'm just sitting here hanging out.
Yeah, no. There's nothing. This isn't being recorded. It's not being posted anywhere.
Yeah, this is just fun.
I contact strangers and I'm like, I'm going to talk at you.
That would be kind of crazy.
It would be awesome, but like I'd have to record that just to... but like only me.
Oh my god, that's a good concept too, though.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of a serial killer kind of thing with with VHS tapes that say like Vicky Clerici and then like 1,000 other ones, and it's like, wow, these are all the people that he talked at for no reason at all and said it was a podcast and it wasn't. And and they found it after he got lost in the woods or something. I don't.
Oh no, he got out.
He got out.
Oh my goodness.
Like I was recording it from an insane asylum. It sounds like the whole time. All of this is fake, and it's just a padded room. This is all in my mind, actually.
This is all a simulation, man. If I've learned anything from the last 2 years.
Kind of feels that way sometimes, right? Like it.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear about? So I'm there. I'm there yesterday, standing there in my room, and John's just like, "Well, war's going down," and I'm like, "Excuse me, you mean Family Feud tonight? Hell yeah, we're warring war." And it's just like, no, like shit's going down. I'm just like, oh man, like, oh, I gotta kill that. that moment where you're just like, oh, the news, everything. Yeah.
And then like it for me, it's kind of like, what can you really believe though? A lot of times, because in that sense,
right?
again, I think that's that story that's always coming in from somewhere. And I feel like as a person, what I try to do with that is I try to look at what is the root cause of as many things as I can. Like where's the money? Where's the power? Where's the, like, break it down to that. Like, think about a few things. Like what is a nature based, human what am I trying to say, proclivity that's like maybe fueling this whole thing, and then maybe the story.
Absolutely, that's a smart thing to do too, especially now. I don't know about you, but it's like, I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to do this and that on my social media, and every now and then you'll get these DMs and I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many freaking pyramid schemes are going on right now? Like, I always have to question. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, it's gotta be a pyramid.
It's a pyramid. You're like, oh, but can I get rich?
The amount of times, right? I'm just like, guys, like, leave people alone.
So if I get 5 of my friends to ask 5 of their friends, I'm rich, man. Equals money. $sign.
I always think back to Cutco knives. I think that was the thing, going door to door selling knives.
Going to
Cutco. The first version. Yeah, Cutco.
I wonder what the first, because there was like Avon Lady as well, right? It was a makeup deal.
Yeah.
And there was Amway. Yeah. Is that a thing?
Amway, yeah. I think there's still a thing.
Tupperware.
Oh, fuck, that's still going too.
Tupperware is legit, right? Like, that was a thing.
Yeah. But could we say something? Tupperware is actually functional.
It works, yeah. It's the best. Those brown or orange-ish color ones from the 80s that are still, like, they were made of steel, basically.
There's still Sharpie on it. Like, this is Mom's. Give back Mom's Tupperware.
I forgot all about that kind of thing. It's like, you got it but you got to bring this back. You got to bring the dish back. We brought
those ones.
A dish back to my wife's mom the other day, like a Tupperware thing that looks like it's from the 70s. Maybe that's why I'm thinking.
How long did you kidnap it for? That's the question.
Since Christmas. It was Christmas time, and we all got together, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to take the rest of the whatever?" And we had it, and then it was downstairs. You're like, "Yeah, I'm taking it all." Then after the Christmas thing, we were like, we're not doing this again. I don't know. This is the thing I think I'm going to leave behind. I'm leaving it behind. It's like the junky food at Christmas time. I think I'm going to make, like, I will not do something that sucks or anything, and I will do something special, like special meals, but the recipes are going to be clean. Because this year I was like, I do not feel good about this at all. Like, we both felt like we were going to die. And then I was just like, this food is not what we want. Like, why do we do this to ourselves every time? And then I got to train like extra hard.
Such a nutrition junkie. Like, like when you get into that shit, you're just like, man, you fall down again another rabbit hole where you can read and read for days. But like, it all ends up to be, if something you're ingesting makes you feel great, awesome. You're gonna tell me you're gonna eat like a whole pack of fucking Reese's Pieces and still feel good after? Like, no, you're gonna feel like death.
No, I don't think I couldn't eat that at all.
Come on. No.
No way.
That kind of stuff, like, it's, even Christmas, right? Because, like, people will make all those snacks, and you're all like, yeah, I'm excited. And I don't know about you, I've always had intestinal issues and shit, like irritable bowels and all that jazz. Like, so I laugh at poop so much, I think. But yeah, it's that moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna cheat, I'm gonna do this, and you're just like, I'm like fucking on the bathroom for like an hour after that. Like, it's not worth it.
Like, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And like I say, for me, it's also, we just don't do it enough. Like if it only happens at Christmas, it's even worse in a way because it just beats the crap out of you. Not ready. Your body's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You ate no carbs and no sugar all year, and like, you're gonna eat cookies now. Like that's this is horrible. You're not ready for this.
I'm such a fan of the whole low carb thing. Honestly, like people make fun of me. They're like, "How do you have so much energy all the fucking time?" And I'm like, "You have no idea." I'm like, I think I've found my biohack. You know.
So what does your diet look like, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm pretty keto. I'm one of those people who eats, I'd say 90% of the time, like just fats, meat. Like a meat and fats kind of person. Also vegetables.
Some veggies. Like what kind of veggies work for you?
I'm obsessed with cauliflower and broccoli. I'm big on those. Make a lot of soup, salads. I'm a big salad whore. So many salads.
Okay. This is awesome. That's what I do. Like actually, the last time we talked, you asked me if I meal prepped, and I'm like, I haven't meal prepped in a while because I know kind of what I'm doing, but I actually meal prepped this week.
Oh.
Yeah. I have all these meals, and it's like chicken and cauliflower, like beef and like a red pepper. Mostly those are the things I freeze, and then I make the salads fresh because you can't really meal prep those. But
so tasty.
Yeah, tons of salads, a little bit of things like pumpkin seeds and stuff like that. I know, like, I'm getting off on a tangent about food.
I love it. Yeah, just a little pumpkin seed.
So, but you're absolutely right. Like the solid fats, solid, and again, there's no carbs in that. Like I find the starchy carbs seem to they don't really work.
Count.
Yeah, they don't work.
No. Like every now and then, you know, a poutine, whatever. But like, I don't know about you. I just feel lethargic the next day. You know, I feel down. Like carb depression is a thing, man. Like, you know, like that withdrawal feeling. I'm like, ugh, I'm an egg slut. I love eggs. I eat so many eggs.
You're obscene. A slut for a lot of things. It turns out I'm a salad whore. I'm an egg slut. What?
I'm really big
I'm
into
a
groceries.
meat prostitute. Okay. How is it seems like you like eating these things. She's like, no,
so much.
I sell sex for these foods. You don't understand.
I always said if I was a thief, I would be a grocery thief. I would just hang out at like the checkout lines and be like,
It seems like the most
functional thing.
It's this is the worst plan in the entire world. Like, if you're gonna steal groceries, don't do it in front of the cashier and the customer. It's like the literally worst strategy you could have come up with.
This is why I don't steal.
She's like, you're at the bank with a banana, like, give me all them. Give me all the nickels. Like, what? Like, you don't want the $100 bills or anything? Like, nickels. No. They're taking them out of circulation. If I get 5 friends to take 5 nickels.
We'll be rich, bitch.
We're gonna be so rich. 20 years, the appreciation of the nickel. So, we buy NFTs.
Move over, Wealth Simple. Oh my god.
I feel like I am not asking you questions about your work or yourself. The first time we talked, I was like, 9,000 years ago, they had masks in Israel. And what do you think about the masks? And then I was like, Vicky doesn't care about this.
I'm
Vicky
like, what
doesn't
about
care.
Math? Maths are cool.
She was like, Michael Myers wears a mask. I was like, yes. Correct.
Some people are really like John is really big like history dude, whereas like I'm the opposite. I'm just like in the now. Like, what just happened? Also, I feel like public schools didn't teach us that well.
No, you're right. You're certainly right about that. Right? I think in public school I learned that like the Christopher Columbus was trying to find out if the world was round, and then like when you search into it, it's like they've known the world was round for like 10,000 years. and it's been in Greek mathematics, famous like Aristotle, and all of this. It's like, well, okay, wait. They're like, no, it was nothing
Who
to
wrote
do with
this
that.
book?
He was trying to find a route to India. That had nothing to do with anything about round. It was like like they just thought it was a fun story, and so they said it.
That's
like,
it.
I think this is why I don't
Way to
trust
write
anybody.
history. It's always good to ask all the questions, though. I find it so key. I'm always so skeptical. You have to be. You never know.
Well, yeah, and that's actually why I asked you that question earlier of like, what did you drop? Like, what's a thing that you have dropped? Like, whether it be mental or an idea or something like that. Because it's like, don't we, as we go through life, don't we end up having to drop ideas about what is success? Like being successful. We talked about the nuclear family idea. It's like, okay, well, if you have, you go to school and you get a job and you have kids and you get married, well, what maybe in the other order actually is the way that it's supposed to be. You got to get married, then have kids, right? Because nobody's allowed to fuck around before that. So, it's like,
Sinners.
Okay, sinners, heretics. So we do those things in those orders, and you make enough money, then you're successful, right? And also don't be too successful, because that's also bad for some reason, right? So dropping that idea is one example of what I mean by that. Like, what comes to your mind when you think about dropping these kind of ideas?
Well, like, I kind of pulled that whole thing, like exactly what you just explained. I had a moment where I was always living in apartments, finally saved up enough with my ex to then move back to the burbs and get a home, get that all going. And again, like, I hit one of those points. I hit like a huge down, and I was like, dude, I'm not like the house picket fence kind of person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy I live where I live now, obviously, because I am that person who wants to be hidden in the woods somewhere. It's like, I find it's something, you drop so many different paths in life, and I'm that person who actually pursues them and is like, okay, like, let's try this, let's be adaptable. And it's like, no, couldn't do it. Like,
I think
tough,
that's
man.
good. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
No, but
life is wild.
I think that's really admirable. Actually, I know so few people. There's only actually some of my closest friends and maybe myself are people like that. Like that the way you just described yourself as being somebody like, okay, yeah, maybe I do want a house, but maybe I want to be hidden away in the woods. It's not actually this suburbs thing. Also, I will actually try the avenues. This is something that you said, right? Try the thing. Yes, many of those things will fail, probably most. Like you're going to drop some of them and you're going to say, you know what? Actually, I just want to do these masks. That's what it turned out. I want to create with my hands. I want to do that in the woods with a dog and maybe put a sweater on the dog. And and that's it. And like, this is the kind of stuff I want to do. And then stream Family Feud and do something that's just outside of the exact story. It's not that far outside of it either. You're doing your job. You have your partner. You have a house. How is that so different? Why does it have to be this one thing? But yeah, I think
because it's art. You can't make money off of art, right? Like,
yeah,
everybody
no one ever did.
scares us. Like, it's a whole fucked up thing where people are so like, stay there and only do this and do your 9 to 5. And fuck, like, I did that for years, man. I always hustled. I always had like 3 jobs going at the same time in order, to fund what I do as a passion, my art. So it's like, kind of like, you hit a point where you're just like, fuck, man, like, not I paid my dues, but, I'm going to enjoy this for a bit and keep pushing. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, because life doesn't last forever, right? I try
exactly.
People say that, but I don't think we internalize that too much. I like how you're like being polite with it. It's like, you can blow smoke right at the camera.
I don't want it like all here.
Tobacco su. It means smoking tobacco.
Oh.
Tobacco su.
Tobacco su.
Yeah, I had to remember.
Your accent's on point.
I felt like such a fool though today. I was doing the Japanese class, and she asked me like hikoki de, which means on a plane. Hikoki is plane. De means in or doing something. So like I could say Montreal de, and that means in Montreal etc. So hikoki de and the grammar for something you shouldn't do, right? And I was like, okay, well, I know this. Don't smoke on a plane. So I was like, it's like osu, it's something osu, something osu. And I like sat there for like 3 minutes, like trying to get it myself. And she was like, all right, well, we could just like use, I used a different way to say it. And then she's like, oh, the word you were looking for was tobacco osu. I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, seriously, tobacco? You guys just say tobacco?
Come on.
Like,
you had that.
I didn't.
This moment.
I didn't have it. I couldn't bring it up. I was like, tobacco osu. I was like, really? Tobacco. I'm like, sorry, that had nothing to do with what you were talking about. But yeah, to go.
No.
Like I say, so blow the smoke at the camera. I deserve every bit of that for not remembering tobacco.
That's another thing I stopped too pretty hard. It's like one of those things, like smoking cigarettes is awful. I was a huge smoker. I think I was doing like a pack a day, and I was like, fuck that noise. Like, you start realizing, kind of like a social media addiction or whatever, you start realizing how much time you spend, also cash you spend, especially when it comes to cigarettes. But I just remember like sitting at my window and like, what am I doing? Like, I could be in there right now painting instead of taking like a break. And you start analyzing, why do I constantly need this little time to myself? Anyways.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fucking
that
tobacco.
Is interesting.
I mean,
so,
this is,
well, like, yeah, okay. So you have like the what do you call those? The vaporizer, I guess, or is it?
Yeah.
It's vape.
Yeah,
what am I?
Vape.
Oh, I'm so old. I guess I'm like, do you have a vaporizer? No, it's vape. It's like a vape pen or something, and like that's.
Yeah.
I guess you get to it limits it down. It brings it down for you, so you don't have to have it as much.
Yeah, well, like, that's it. I've been pretty much weaning myself off for the last this long. But, like, man, if you were to speak to me maybe, like, 2-3 years ago, my voice was so raspy. I used to cancel podcasts sometimes and be like, I have no voice.
You have no voice?
I mean, chances are I'd be at, like, a concert, too, like, the night before screaming my ass off. But en plus. It's like,
en plus.
Yo, yeah. My little Franglish.
Non, c'est bien. C'est vraiment bien. Ton français, c'est bien. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, but I think, yeah, no, and isn't it? It's kind of rough though, the smoking thing. Like, how did that get started? Just to say, like, was it like when you were a kid, or you're being cool?
I was like 24.
What?
I was late on everything in life. Yeah, late on everything in life. 24. I was, me and my cousin lived together, and we were just like, I'm like, this menthol's fun to smoke. It was just like all right. Oh, I get to stand outside sometimes and meet people. I love meeting people. Like,
there is a thing about that, though. Oh, sorry, please.
No, go for it.
No,
the smoker circle.
That's right, though. Like I actually, the first time I came here, wow. Okay. When I moved here from the West Coast, I went to this school. It was like a school for people who are not good students, essentially, like the kids who like don't like school. And yeah. And so like you can go there, and like basically all the bad kids are there. And so this school actually had like a smoke break time where like everybody could go outside.
Shut up.
Yeah, so like,
and this is like high school, like,
yeah, it was high school. It was to finish high school. Yeah,
what?
Yeah. So they had like 2 smoke break recesses during the time.
Excuse me, I have a question. How you afford the cigarettes in high school?
Well, look,
like,
it was the least of their problems. Okay, they were trying. They were trying as hard as they could to just like keep these kids under control, and I don't think they needed them nicking out on the teachers, right? So basically, like, we're putting the smoke breaks, and you guys can go and do that. And I mean, I don't know. There was my point though is what you were saying about everybody getting in a circle. Like, there's a bunch of people out there. It's pretty social. Smoking, like in movies and stuff. I've been listening to all this Japanese hip hop and they still have like there's every single video has like a them smoking, and it's super cool scene.
It's big in the culture, I'm pretty sure. Japanese culture, smoking.
Oh yeah,
Not weed.
they still have the weed's illegal out there, like hardcore. But definitely the smoking. Like every restaurant still has smoking. Every thing. I think they had one section of the city that I went to near where like the Ghibli. I don't know if you know the Ghibli Museum. It's the Miyazaki, all those cartoons like Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke and My Neighbor Totoro. Anyway, these are cartoons. He's like a famous guy. There's a museum of his near this area, and that area is becoming like a non-smoking kind of area. But everywhere else, like in Tokyo, is legit like smoking. So that's their start. But like they're like, no, we're not making anything. We're not changing any laws here, you know.
Crazy.
It's pretty wild, but yeah. So like smoking's cool, is what I'm trying to say. I guess it all comes down to it. That like.
Fuck, what was that show too? With all the men, and it's like the 60s, and it got really not Suits. What's the other one?
Oh, Mad Men.
Mad Men. Always a fucking cigarette in like every single scene. You're like,
and some booze.
I remember I was like trying to quit and watch that. I was like, this is rough. Like, fuck these guys. Like,
so like, did you do anything special to quit?
No, you know what? I kind of just weaned myself off. And also, like, I just remember feeling really shitty. It's one of those things, right? Like, if you're trying to live a solid lifestyle, like, fuck, I work out a lot. I need my energy, to do my math. I'd like to talk to people. I like to shoot the shit. If I can't even, go this long and like, I'm losing my voice over it. Like, I'm getting sick. Like, I hit that point where I'm like, this isn't fun. Like, this is no longer fun. Maybe if I'm blackout drunk and I'm at a concert and I'll be like, I want one. But I'm able to do that now, which is pretty good.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Yeah. I think that's another example. Like the last time we talked, you talked about how you were like a walking contradiction. In a sense like that you've always been exercising and working out and you love diets and stuff, but then also smoking a lot. So. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bananas. I'm like all over the fucking place. I like to go hard or go home. Right. Yeah. like just this morning, it's one of those things. We were hungover as balls. I don't even remember cooking last night. Apparently I made burgers. Ayo! But the point is, I still get my fucking ass up in the morning, go out for my super long walk, get my workout in, you got to. I'm one of those people, I'm like, fuck you, body. I'm holding you accountable. Like, you want to get crazy and party? Like, you better get your ass up and work hard anyways. Like, it's my motto.
I'm not sure that makes it. But yeah, like I told you last time, you have the Mickey Mantle gene where you just like, you're with Marilyn Monroe partying it up and in Hollywood or whatever, and then drinking and doing whatever they used to do, opium or something, and then waking up and going and hitting home runs somehow. So I guess that's the deal. I don't think I could do it. If I'm like, I woke up in the middle of the night and now I'm tired. Like that happens to me all the time. I still get up. But I'm like, this week though, I've been going hard. This week I was like, okay, I'm doing like I said, with the Japanese thing, like if you can knock one thing over, I find other things get knocked over. I felt like I was doing the motions with my workouts, like I dragged myself through them before, but I was like, okay, no, new workouts, sit down, write out your stuff and like do a little extra. And like I blasted the legs day yesterday, blasting I did the upper body more today, a little bit of abs in both. And like, I did them real. Like, do you know how there's that difference between, I did the same sort of things, but yet somehow like I'm sore today and the same thing wouldn't have been the case with the old workout. Like, does that make any sense?
Absolutely. There's a working out, especially, it's such a good habit to have, I think, especially as artists. Like we need that outlet, I think, but also to be all into it, to enjoy it while you're doing it. Yes, there's days where you're like, fuck, like your legs feel heavy or whatever, you just don't feel like it. But it's that moment when you finish and you went really hard and you enjoyed it. That's the best.
No, I'm with you. That is good.
Uh,
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, no, I'm sort of like feel like I'm just rambling about our date a lot
it's
and not
okay.
asking you much about your work and all of that. That's just because we have talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah.
but well, what happened there?
I, I was making sure there wasn't any food left in my hair. From last
Okay,
night.
so what?
Wild moments. Yeah. Sometimes you wake up and you find food in your hair. I was like, what?
You had so you
I
had
had a
food in
moment.
your hair from like the hamburger making, or
I think so. It was a rough night. I figured, guys, Family Feud is back. Like, that's all I can
oh
say.
shit. Okay, so Family Feud is like that. So okay, you stream
No.
Family Feud, Twitch, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we do it on Twitch and on Reddit. Yeah.
Twitch and Reddit. Okay, so you guys stream the old like 80s version of the game Family Feud on Reddit.
Hmm.
And basically,
Yeah.
I guess it sounds like it's a bit of a rager then, because
Oh, it's pretty silly.
if you don't remember making hamburgers and have food in your hair still now, hours and hours, like
Not
20.
there anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's we like to have fun, like our live nights and stuff like that is for us to shoot the shit with folks and be like, all right, next round, take a shot.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. But my body's like, you hit a point, eh? It ain't the same rodeo all the time.
Yeah, I guess not. You hit a point. That's the way to say it. That's the way to say it. Blackout drunk. Like,
Oh my lord.
is that hitting a point?
I didn't even see it coming. It snuck up on me.
what were you
Sometimes
guys
it's
drinking?
those
Like
moments-
grappa or something?
Oh. It was, what were we shooting? We always have like a whiskey or a tequila going as our shot. So we had the Jameson cold brew, which is pretty good. It's like a coffee liqueur whiskey,
Okay.
I guess.
Cold brew.
Anyways,
It's coffee
cold brew.
and booze.
It's
Dope.
it's so good. Yeah, and it's whiskey. But I was an idiot. I normally always have like what are they called? White Claws. I normally have
White
White
Claw.
Claws.
That's
Well,
a
'cause
little
it's
easier
easy
to deal
sip
with, right?
on, right? Instead, I pulled a Julian from Trailer Park Boys and I had a rum and Diet Coke going.
Mm.
And he used to be a bartender, right? And he was pouring them heavy. Bad idea.
He was pouring them heavy. It sounds like it's
Oh.
his fault after all.
Yeah.
After the story came out, yeah.
It's your fault I have burger in my hair this morning. This is the kind of arguments we have. I don't know about you, your significant other.
I don't know. Maybe not that, but yeah. I argue about dumb stuff every time. Like for me, it's only ever dumb stuff. If there's an argument,
Oh, yeah?
it comes out, yeah. It's only ever something stupid or something like, I feel slighted about somehow. Like that's me, like some attitude problem. But but nothing ever important. I think that's the thing about relationships too, is I feel like are completely on the opposite ends of anything that feels important to you all the time. And I don't know, is this a thing too? Like this is, I guess I'm trashing media and I'm trashing shows in a way, saying this, that like there always seems to be this adversarial relationship that we see. Like that's the rom-com kind of thing, is like they hate each other. Now they're getting married by the end, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
okay,
That's a bad idea.
never.
Me
That's
putting
never-
bets, how long are they going to last?
We were friends for 50 years and didn't notice each other, but now, like, no, you're settling. You didn't like each other. So that's what happens. What are you talking about?
Boom!
Yeah, it's what's happening. You tried dating everyone else first, but yeah, okay. You're in love. You just didn't notice. Like,
Oh,
who
my
doesn't know?
God.
Or it's like the like I've said this before a lot, and I say this all the time, the dumb guy who's like some idiot kind of like fool, like a Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin or whatever. And then some like
Yeah.
beautiful woman, like Fred Flintstone, if you want. Honeymooners. It's the same story over and over. Some dumb guy, beautiful woman, but they're completely antagonistic to the man, and they don't match at all, and they just fight. And it's like, maybe it's a funny show.
Weird, eh?
But that's a bad message, I think, when it comes to relationships. Like, if you're fighting over just the most normal, like the most basic things, it's not good. But if you fight about dumb things sometimes, I think it's like, you've noticed your fights are only ever about something dumb.
I have to remind myself to like, I'm just so, I don't want to say, no, that's not the right word. I don't want to say complacent. I'm somebody who does not give a fuck about much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, cool, you want to do that? That's cool. like there's never any conflict. So sometimes I gotta be like, Vicky, say something kind of weird and throw it off, you know? Like, and he's just like, what? And I'm like, pew, 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 got you.
Pew, pew, pew.
You know, it's like, because sometimes you do want a bit of conflict, or like you do want, you know, it's like asking, what do you want for supper? And if you're constantly like, I don't care anything. Like, you know, like those moments where it's like,
that gets tedious. I'll tell you that for sure. So it's like, so what do you want to do? I'm good with anything, you know. But I think, I think that makes sense though, because like I'm not that way. I'm not good with anything, and I think my partner is good with anything a lot of times. Like, I could do that, or I could do that. She, you know, she has her tastes, but at the same time, you know, it's like, okay, this good thing or this good thing, no problem, either one. And I'm like,
there you go.
It's not either one. It's one or the other. So what I mean? That's dumb. That's a dumb thing to like care about, but sometimes I guess it can rile you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So would you so like, it sounds like you're not a sensitive person. This is a thing I'd like to ask about, is like, do you consider yourself a sensitive person, or maybe not so much? Or like, I think there's more to the story in this question. It's why I'm asking you, like, are you a sensitive person?
I always crack up and tell people I'm dead inside. Like, I watch sad movies and I can't cry. Like, I'll cry to like Homeward Bound. Like, when everyone's like, oh my God, The Notebook. I'm like, so?
Yeah, and I didn't cry to that either, though. It's because you're not stupid. You didn't get any of my letters. Okay.
Sure.
Go to her house. You guys live in the same town this whole time.
This whole time.
Come on, Ryan, figure it out.
Fuck, right?
Sorry.
No,
continue, continue. So you're dead inside, but not when it's the dogs and cats.
Yeah, animals I'm always super soft on, but I don't know. I've always been a very emotionally tough kid, I guess you'd say. And like growing up, I think like, you know, I used to have fucking anger issues growing up. I went to like therapy and stuff. Can you believe it? And now I'm just like happy as fuck.
Really? Like, do you feel like you don't have the anger thing so much anymore?
No, and I think I learned how to channel it, I guess you'd say. Like, you know, like when you're young and dumb, you're all like, roar, throw fists, and like do things. And like, I got a guitar when I was younger, and I was like, yo, music is so good. Music is therapy, you know? Like, there's certain things where you can really just attach to, and then, yeah. And I'm like, being sad is boring, you know? Like, I'm very empathetic, put it that way. Like, I will help my friends or help people through whatever and shit like that. But when it comes to like being sensitive, fuck no. It takes a lot to kind of get under me, I guess you'd say. And
okay, that's one way to put it.
Evoke like certain.
I'm with it, but wow, I'm impressed. I respect that, because like I think I would consider myself a sensitive person. It doesn't take that much to get under my skin, but I can not react, but I have to have to work at it, you know? Like, that's the
Yeah.
deal. I have to work at it. I'm like, okay. If it's a professional situation or something like that, like I
Mhm.
can definitely hold it together. I don't like flip out for no reason or whatever. But definitely, like,
Yeah.
I notice a lot of details. I guess that's one of the ways I could put it. I notice a lot of details, and the little things get to me. Big things tend to not. If it's a huge emergency or
Yeah.
a big disaster or something like that, I will not
Mhm.
feel there's not time to be like a little baby about it. But if it's
Mhm.
a like a kind of a pointless thing, then yeah, then I can be sensitive about those things.
It's it is tough. Like I think I learned a lot when I moved out on my own to Vancouver to go to school and shit. It's like it was my first time moving out. I was like 21 and I like hit that point where I'm just like, man, like you're just a little speck in the universe. Like like who gives a fuck about you, man? Like you hit that point where you're like, oh man, that's true, right? Like why am I, maybe jealous? Why am I taking things so personally? Why am I, it's nice to
Hmm.
let go of that sometimes and just fucking whatever, you know?
Well, like, how did you manage to let some of these things go? Because it's easy, I think, to say let go of
Mhm.
it. You know, like
Yeah.
like even with what you're doing, with the fact that your art went from being like not a hobby but like a passion that you do on the
Yeah.
side to something that's
Yeah.
legitimately this is what you're doing every day, and it is what it is. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of lost track of that. I'm like getting all excited about how you'd make mess for a hobby, but um, that requires letting go. I guess is what I'm saying. You had to let go of the
Yeah.
fear and the all of that kind of stuff. So how do you? I hear that all the time. You know,
It's
like, oh well, you
huge.
just got to let it
Yeah.
go. But then, what is the how of letting it go? I don't know if you can even answer that, but I'm asking. So for you, what was the how of letting go of the first of all the fear, like particularly as it relates to your work, because I feel like I haven't asked you enough about your work. I want you to be able to talk about it more, but I have so much fun chatting about nonsense, so it is fun. But with your work, but then
Yeah.
also with this emotional
Yeah.
stuff too, I think that's a big part of it. I think if you can't handle your emotions, you're not really going to do so well in your own passion sometimes,
Mhm.
because you'll always be getting in your own way. So that's why I'm asking, like, what was the how of letting go for you? You mentioned therapy, but like, what would be something you would do on your own or with yourself to let go of some of the negative stuff?
Man, I think I'm thinking back to like when I first started posting on Instagram because I was holding on to all these insecurities. Like maybe my work isn't good enough to even post online. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing this until it's at a certain level. It's or that little voice in our brain sometimes kind of wants to shut us down. And I just hit a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And if people give me awesome constructive criticisms, then that's awesome. And if people hate, fuck, people are always gonna hate. You know what I mean? That's just life. And it's kind of like that moment where you can let go. I find you could really thrive. It's a way that you can just kind of fucking run with it.
Hmm.
You know?
So do you feel like are you saying that essentially you either you sort of thought yourself through it, and it sounds like you also acted yourself through it by
Absolutely.
continuing
Yeah.
to go forward regardless of whatever the negativity is? Like you just took it,
Yeah.
kind of, is what it sounds like.
Absolutely. And especially like with this, right? It's like I've been at this for 10 years now, apparently. I kept saying 9 years, and I'm like, oh no, Vicky, years are passing by. It's been 10 years that I've been working towards my passion and doing this, making masks. And it's crazy, man. Like, I think back to, having three jobs and, trying to hustle this on the side and going to conventions. And, you hit a point where you're just like, fuck, like, when will I ever be able to do this? And it's like, dude, you can do this full time whenever you want. It's just taking that leap, you know? I was very, very fucking lucky in the sense, like, whatever, but I was let go of my job because of
Mm.
COVID and all that jazz. So, in
Yeah,
my
because
brain,
you
I
used
was
to
like, yeah, okay,
work
I
at
can.
a gym forever, right? Like that, was the deal. You're like a manager of
Exactly.
a gym
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, and so the gyms got hit pretty hard.
Exactly. They did, and it's one of those things where, you know, you think about it and it's like, hey, I can just go ahead, jump and find something else, you know, and again be balancing the two, or should I let myself step back and gift myself, hey, you know, here's some time, you deserve this, and fucking enjoy it and push towards what you want to do, you know? It's,
Yeah.
I've never, I don't know about you, but like I've never felt like my day job ever defined me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like a
I
lot of people are
understand.
like, wow, shit, like you still work another job. And I'm like, yeah, man, but it's gotten me here. It's gotten me, you know, the materials I need. It's helped me travel to the shows. It's helped me, you know, expand my knowledge and all this shit and, you know, have a bigger room to do things and have more, you know, design materials and all that stuff. It's, you know, I'm grateful for that kind of shit. And I think it's a big thing artists kind of, we take it personally when we can't, you know, just be that in a sense, you know, like, oh, well, no, I'm just this. So it's like, no, you're always an artist. And even if you have to work full time still, to me, it's not giving up. You know what I mean?
Wow, man, that's like really, really powerful, I think. Just to say that's
Sorry,
something.
I went deep.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy. I've been too goofy, I think, in this in this podcast, and usually I'm the one being all philosophical, but I guess I was so stoked. I was so stoked. I'm like, yes, make a Billy back, you know. So, but that was really powerful. It's true.
Mhm.
I feel like I feel that way all the time. I'm always like, man, I wish I could just do. Can I just make the thing I want to make, please? You know, can I just do that and not
Mhm.
have to do these 50 other things? And in a sense, that is in a way a fantasy, because you can't just do the one part that you like. And like as an artist, the part that makes you feel the freest or whatever it is,
Mhm.
there is
Yeah.
it's kind of a dirty, hard road that part of it exists. The part where, you know, like let's say I want to do this podcast. Well, I got to figure out software and electronics and lighting and cameras and microphones and all of this kind of stuff. It has to all work, and it doesn't always just work. And like, I don't want to be a tech guy. What I want to do is talk to awesome people. You know, when I
Mhm.
want to write, I don't necessarily want to always, like if I make a comic or something, well, then I got to find an artist who fits the thing, and I gotta look through like 1,000 artist profiles that don't match until it's the one that does match. Now, does their price match? It doesn't quite. So now let's do another 1,000. That part's not fun. Like
Mhm.
and we get stuck with that thinking like we're never. And then yeah, maybe you need the second job. Maybe you need to have money come in so you can pay for this thing until it's on its own. It's like I would consider that calling getting the boat closer to the dock. You know, like a lot of people
Yeah.
like, I'm quitting my job and I'm jumping in the water, you know, and it's like, well,
Mhm.
you might drown doing that. So you might need the job, and it's
Yeah.
looking at it's a positive as opposed to just because I'm not defined by that. But that, like, again, saying I'm not defined by that one thing I do in my life, like a
Mhm.
lot of people feel that their job is their definition. A lot of people feel like
Yeah.
that's who they are. Ever since we're in kindergarten, it's like, what do you want to be? A fireman, a policeman, or a construction worker or something, you know? And it's
Mhm.
like, maybe you don't want to be any of those things, and maybe that's not who you are anyway.
Mhm.
You're not just a cog in the machine. But like, how did you come to this realization? May I ask? If there, I know there probably wasn't just one thing, but what comes to mind? How did you come to this point?
uh, honestly, it's just one of those things. I've always been like, I've been raised to work hard to get to where you want to be. Always. Like my mom's a big hustler, you know, my dad, like people around me, you know what I mean? Like, and it's one of those things where I was always like, hey, if I want to go to school for $30,000 plus, well, I'm gonna work my ass off for a year and literally get 3 jobs and fucking save up that money so I can go and do it. You
Oh,
know, it's, and I've always been a go getter attitude in that sense, you know, and it's just like, I'm thinking about this and it's like, I don't know, like, you know, I can't, I remember coming back from Vancouver and I was like, yeah, I could work on, you know, on film stuff. And like, I started doing that and I was like, I'm really not into this. Like, I don't care to be on a film set. I'm stuck there for fucking 30 plus hours sometimes. Like, if you have a dog, you can't go home. Like, you better hope your significant other, if you have one, is there to do that kind of shit. And what, just to be like, I worked on this really cool thing. Like, I kind of got over that quick, you know, and I was like, I just want to do my math. I want to make spooky shit. You know, I want to share this with people. I want to see what other people do with it. And if I have to work another job just to be able to keep, you know what I mean? Keep at it. Why not? Like,
no doubt. I think the last time you told me that it ended up being for you, like, it was all about the visual, right? Like you wanted to have this visual that you're expressing through what you're doing, right? So, I mean, I guess you must be a little bit introspective then in that regard to be able to sort of whittle down those things, because yes, it's true. Yeah, it can be. I've been on a few movie sets in my time, and it does seem like you can get swept up in the moment. Like it's like as if you're saving the world or something while you make this documentary or music video or whatever. And we're like so serious about it and everything, and then it's over and that's it. It's sort of nothing, and maybe it sucks a little bit. Like that's the other thing too. Maybe it wasn't that good because like maybe people didn't come together as a group, or the editing was bad, or that kind of thing. But what was it? I guess how did you come to the point where you knew that, okay, no, what I liked about this horror movie stuff was the visuals that you get and getting somebody's attention, or what were you trying to do with your visuals, I guess is another way to put it.
Man, like when I started, I was mainly doing makeup effects, right? So my whole thing was shock value. Like I kind of said it in our last thing, like I grew up fucking on steakandcheese.com. We all had our weird gore phase. You know, I was watching a lot of whack videos I probably shouldn't have been. But a lot of real type of violent stuff. And I think that helped me so much because I've always been intrigued by being able to recreate that, you know, to shock people with that. And I started with probably like the most limited amount of makeup supplies and stuff, like dermal wax, you know, and just some like red and some stage blood, and progressed to going to school to really learn how to do it. And it was kind of wild, like, you know, seeing other people go to, you know, recreate a scar, and they look at mine like, what the? And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I got a big background in this. Like, you guys killed it at the beauty stuff, but this is my jam, you know? Like, this is where it's at. But yeah, it's one of those things where I've always stuck with that. And then I remember finally getting to learn how to make masks and to be like, fuck yeah, okay. Now I can make these striking images, these striking creatures to just, you know, give this sense of oddity to people. I love that.
Yeah, give a sense of oddity to people. Yeah, I think you do it. You succeed really well with that for sure. No, like you do succeed with it. That's the special quality of what you do versus what somebody else does. I think I'm always looking for what is the beauty. Like I have this idea. I'm not sure where I got it. Some philosopher somewhere, or maybe some amalgamation of philosophers, but that their life is kind of, in order to have a life that feels meaningful, you end up going on quests, or you quest for some things, you know, and some of the worthwhile quests are quests for knowledge, quests for adventure, but quests for beauty is another one. And that could come in a lot of different forms. That's why, like, I know last time I asked you what your definition of beauty was, and I thought your answer was awesome, actually, where I think what you said is somebody doing what they do in the most authentic way possible. I'm paraphrasing your own words, but yeah, I mean, it seems like that's what you were doing here, is that you noticed the thing that you really loved about the makeup in the first place, and it evolved into, well, actually it's masks, and now I express this certain subtext with what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm putting a lot of words in your mouth on that, but that's the way that I feel about it.
Deep, but yeah, and I'm glad. Like, I think the hardest thing as an artist is to convey, you know, how much you love it too to people. Like we're doing this online, right? Like a lot of time it's just visual. And I've had so many people come up to me and be like I could feel like that you're genuine about this. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, of course, like I'm sure, there are some people you meet that are artists and stuff and they're, they hate it. They're tired, they do it for the money. It's a different, there is that, there's always going to be that, but, and I hear it when you talk about your writing and everything, like you're fucking passionate as shit. And I think that's so important,
I'm happy to hear that. I don't know. I mean, thank you for saying that. But yeah, that internal passion, I do think that's what it is. You quest for your beauty, whatever that means, and quest for your adventure, quest for your knowledge, the things that you're missing that you want to know, and be able to have that more in your life, I think is important. And so, yeah, I feel like, well, for writing is a thing that is, I don't know, always a bit love and hate. I don't like to be cliche about it, but like, cause it does end up being kind of hard. You write stuff and like you can write and write and write. And I've never had a problem dumping out the words, and then I read it back and I'm like, oh man, some of this kind of sucks. And then some of it's kind of awesome. And so writing is kind of like, I've written it. Now I'm going to write it again. And now I'm going to write it again.
It's
and
like
now I'm going to write it again.
And yeah.
So it's like, it's both awesome and also can be a little tedious when it's a day in and day out kind of deal. I definitely noticed something too with like, particularly with this podcast, like even just talking to you the first time, I was like, man, I am definitely into chatting with people like this, people who are into doing their thing. You have so much to offer, in terms of a different perspective. I don't think that it's that, I'm not saying that it's other people just can't understand it or something. Like that's like a pretentious artist attitude a little bit. We're like, you just can't understand me, man. But I
get it completely what you're saying, like it's kind of like, I gotta bring it back to Feud, but it's kind of like the people we attract on Family Feud. You start realizing we're all, around the same age group. We all are very nonchalant about our sense of humor. Like we're all kind of in the same, like peas and pods and peas. Like you just have similar views, right? That sounded so sexy.
I try to make it so that it's not. I'm basically trying to make it so that it's not annoying. Like that I'm correcting the phrase. I was like, okay, she's got it wrong a few times. I'm gonna jump in, but
intervene.
It's peas in a pod. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the stage, Christy. Chastity. So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Totally crushed your point. But you're right. I think what like attracts like, I guess, is a classic phrase.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together.
When I was first starting again my Instagram, I was really I'm always trying to learn and shit and whatnot. Like I don't like the whole people pay for follows. Who wants that? Excuse me. I don't want robots liking my stuff. I want people that are like me, like-minded, and we're both sharing interesting shit. I'm not gonna follow somebody I don't want to follow. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm with you.
So, it's I think that's huge, and I think a lot of the times it's like you said, you're attracting what you put out there. I think that's so important. That's why it's so important to be authentic. Don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or to what you want, I guess.
I'd say so. I mean, I guess it's a road that has some hardships for sure. Like definitely, I guess the groove or the path has already been cut out for that life that we've talked about, where it's like, if you want to go to the bank and say, I'm buying a house because I've had this job for a while and I'm here with my wife and we're going to have kids, and you can do that path pretty easily. Like that's been done enough times that there's a well-worn groove in the ground there, right? Or if you want to look at it like that path has been cut through the forest already, it's got, wood chips there. You can just like walk clearly right through that, but it's not going to have the adventure that doing something where you pull out the machete and you start chopping your own way through the woods and you have to create your own. That's a lot harder. You're going to sweat. You're going to have calluses on your hands. That part, sometimes like it looks glamorous when the job is done. Like we look at your mask like, oh, it's so cool. Look, she's dancing and listening to music while she paints. It's so awesome. And it is awesome. But also you did stab yourself 1,000 times with fish hooks today, right? So
so many times. It's yeah.
No.
The beauty of pushing through, you know.
But isn't that
I
where?
think that's key.
Oh, cool. Please continue. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I want to ramble. You're inspiring me to ramble.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, like, it's so key to just follow through. I think it's really hard as artists. We start something and we're like, okay, now this. Okay, now this. And it's like, you know what? If you really love something, go fully through with it. Just fucking and see how that makes you feel. You know, like, so good.
It does feel good. Like that really feels good when you get to the end. Like I'll tell you that I had this thing where I wanted to finish a novel in like a 3-month period. I did it in 2.5 months, right? From zero to it's finished, you know, and it was the stupidest idea that I've ever had too. That was the other thing too. I was like, I'm not going to act like I'm so high and mighty that I'm only going to write the best ideas that I ever have or whatever. If I'm going to do a fast novel, why can't it also be dumb and like about the dumbest thing ever? It was about, it's like I think I might have told you this already, but it's a Sasquatch, Viking, sci-fi erotic novel. So
oh my God.
It's all of these kind of things. And then like from time to time, full porno, you know? So
yes!
There's no way that I can act like I'm so amazing or something. Like this is the dumbest thing I can think.
I love it. Oh.
But I'm like, this is crazy. I'm going to publish this myself, obviously, because like who cares about this? But I was like, I'm going to do this from start to finish, and I'm going to hold the book in my hand when it's done, and that's the deal. And something about finishing that, no matter what, does feel good. So follow through for sure. I'm with you on follow through.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good.
All right. Yeah.
I'm just in my mind. I'm like, Sasquatches, porn.
Oh yeah. Well,
Sasquatch porn.
Sasquatch porn. I feel like I heard about it once in when I was in Japan. I remember thinking like
tetrophiliacs. It's a big thing.
Okay.
Tetrophiliac. Anyway.
Tetrophiliac? What does that mean? You're throwing new concepts at me.
I'm pretty sure that's the word. Anyways, it starts with a T, ends with a philiac, but it's very much monsters. People being like monster lovemaking.
I see. I do follow an Instagram called Monsters Holding Bitches.
So, me too. I love that one.
Or maybe it's Bitches Holding Monsters now. I think they switched the name.
Did they switch it?
Yeah, they reversed them.
Oh, that's funny.
You follow that?
I love that one. Absolutely. Yeah. That was probably one of my first ones I started following.
Wow.
Think about it. Yeah.
Okay, crazy.
They always had cool poster art, you know? Like, I love that shit.
Well, I don't know. The way that worked out for me was that essentially I heard about somebody wrote Sasquatch erotica or something, and some podcast I was listening to, and I was in Japan, and I was sort of like didn't want to go outside right away because it's super hot in the summer and really, really, really humid. So I was just sort of like chilling out, making food, and I was like, Sasquatch erotica. Why would you even do that? And I was like,
I need to see this.
And then it was like kind of lame though. Like it was just sort of like, you know, whatever, not that well done, or like not necessarily like what I did was not well done either. It was obviously a rush job, but I was like, it's not that imaginative. I was like, if I was going to write a Sasquatch erotica, it would probably be like I would have to include maybe that it would be like somebody's abducted by aliens or something, and they think that they're in the forest with like some guy that they really like, but it turns out that that it's a Sasquatch tricking them all along, because a Sasquatch is like an interdimensional being, because that's why we can never find the
Ooh.
Sasquatch, and have to
Oh my
incorporate
god,
the
that's
Loch
smart.
Ness. Yeah, so I mean, I was like, hey, wait a minute,
Ah,
I'll write that. I was like, I'm
that's
just gonna write that, and
awesome.
then it turned out I was like, where would I do this? And I was like, well, what if it was like a Canadian thing where in Newfoundland there is like Viking settlements, and I was like, oh, there's
Mhm.
a lot of Sasquatch stuff there, kind of, but also there was this Viking thing. So I was like, well, what if there was a whole scenario there where it was Vikings? And then I was like, okay, I'll write that, Vikings, and they'll be on their way to the Sasquatch thing, and then things turn nasty. So yeah. Oh yeah, no,
Sorry.
then it's full porno. By the way, like there's so many scenes that are full porno,
Ah,
monster porno, whatever. Like it's like as bad as any kind of Japanese cartoon that you.
what is a Sasquatch's favorite position?
Okay, the so I was gonna say
Enlighten me.
one of the first scenes that happens is
Yeah.
it's kind of like a missionary, but they're on the back of a polar bear that they have both just killed with spears, and so
Oh.
the heat of the moment has arisen. But I'm gonna say they definitely like themselves some missionary-ish position,
Okay.
but like the other person is either being held up by something or maybe tied to a post or something like that, or like it's not straight up missionary, it's like arms under the legs. Missionary is the Sasquatch's favorite
Hot.
position. Yeah, oh, there you have it, you're welcome. But no, like, I mean, but here's the deal, I'll say this,
Mm.
like you do, I know, like, again, you talked about this last time, but you said like you steak and cheese, or when you try to make a mask, you try to look at like the real thing that will give you some reference imagery to that. And I did the same thing. I got like a big book of Sasquatch that's all the encounters of Sasquatch around the world, and
Mhm.
although I read those kind of things, it's like, oh, what different kind of cryptids exist, which is like the name for all of these unknown beastie animals, like a Sasquatch or a Loch Ness or something. They're cryptids. I didn't know that, but I learned that, and I took it seriously. I'm like, okay, well, what kind of eye color do they have? What kind of fur color do they have? What kind of noises do they make? And it all went in this spirally direction. So I
I
mean,
find
has
it
that ever
so
happened to
important.
you?
It's like method acting. Yeah, I literally like consider it like method acting, except it's our version, whether it's visual stuff you need. There was one point when I was making my Brundlefly that I literally had my wall covered with these printouts of pictures of him for reference. But I remember walking in, and you get so used to it, right? You're in your little habitat, and then I was walking in, like, I don't know, it was like early in the morning, and I just look and I'm like, holy crap, I look like a serial killer. Like, this looks like a serial killer's wall, with all those shitty pictures half taped up, like, all over the place, like, of their victims, but it's just like this dude's face. I was like, this is so cool, though. Like, you hit those moments where you're, like, so surrounded by it, right? I find it
Wow.
important.
Like
Yeah.
what inspired you with Grundlefly? Like I know that movie was definitely The Fly with Jeff Goldblum takes like I
Yeah.
like that one. That's the Fly that I'm like more into.
Yeah.
What was it about that caught your eye?
You know what? That was actually a commission. That was a commission that a dude from Europe, United Kingdom, contacted me. Super cool guy, big collector, and he was like, "I'd really like this, like done." And I was like, "Fuck!" Like it's rare that I take commissions, especially back then. I was working a lot. I was like a manager, so it's like you're constantly there. You're constantly dealing with bullshit. Um, and I didn't have as many heads as I do now too. So I was weighing out, okay, this is what I could do it for. It's gonna take me at least 2 months, I think, maybe 3. I think it in the end took me about 3 months to finish completely.
Whoa.
But it's also huge, right? When somebody approaches you with like something like that, like here's my money, I want you to do this. that gives me so much anxiety because I want to make something that you are going to trip balls over. Like, you're going to be like, yes. And if I don't feel it in me when I see something, like I can do it properly, I'm not going to do it. I think that, it's also, if you're not fully committed to it, you're not going to do a great job. So he approached me with this. I fucking love Jeff Goldblum. I love him. And I love the movie The Fly. I thought that was such a wicked film, kind of like They Live. It's still held up after all these years. The effects are so good, right? So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. And as hard as it was, and as big as it is, it's one of those pieces that I'm so happy. I'm so happy I took under, as a commission to make, because I still make him now.
Oh,
it's one of those things. It wasn't like a one-off. Yeah.
That's awesome. And They Live is awesome. Also, oh man, with Roddy Piper and was it Keith David?
Yeah.
You ready for this, player? I think about Keith David. He's I told you the last time this video game called Saints Row that I played, right? It was like Saints Row the Third. They have a fourth edition where basically everybody's been captured by aliens and the world has been destroyed, and they have to get each other out. And basically Keith David, who's the co-star of They Live, he was the vice president in this universe. And so they've saved him from the aliens, and they go taking on things, but it all happens inside the simulation. So at some point you have to go save Keith David with Roddy Piper in the last scene of They Live when they're finishing the thing. And I was like, are you guys kidding me? Like, I know these guys were nerding out on making this video game. But yeah, so anyway, sorry, that has nothing to do with what you said, other than
I love that though.
You had They Live, and I was like, ding, ding, ding. Also, the ideology. I love that, of showing how like you could be immersed in an ideology without realizing it. Was like, there was a scary side of We Live, and there's the funny side and the goofy side of like, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum, like, or something like that. You're like, what? But the ideology thing, where like you don't see that you're being subliminally, messaged constantly. You don't see that there's this message going in your head, and there were these aliens around you controlling the entire world the entire time. You've been a slave this whole time, and figure it out. I love that subtext. Well, subtext, it's right there in front of you. Maybe think twice about what's going on. You got to open your eyes, man. So
open your eyes. Put on the shades.
Yeah, it's like you put on these.
It was just
Ray-Bans.
A huge Ray-Bans ad. Yeah, yep. Exactly.
And literally got you with the exact thing the movie is telling you to be careful about. Like right in there. Buy these glasses, by the way, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll never be fooled again.
God.
Also, tell 5 friends to tell 5 friends. And yeah. I always thought okay, wait, no, what is it this way? I always thought this was like the it's the okay. Yeah. I get them confused.
Remember that movie Ready to Rumble? Forever, like.
I think so. What was it about though? It feels like it's not popping in my head. Ready to Rumble.
Oh fuck, I forget the actors, but 2 really big wrestle fans or whatever, wrestle people fans. They go and like they try to find like their savior, who's
yes,
kind of like a Jake the Snake type thing, like, but like silly movie. I actually enjoyed that one.
I think it had like
I loved old wrestling.
Arquette, like David Arquette or something like that, maybe.
Yes, it's one of those. Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah,
awesome. And
the gym guy, I think it was the guy from the gym in Night the Roxbury. What about an energy bar? You know that?
I'm getting the feeling you have a particular taste in films.
I literally only watch horror movies and like really bad comedy.
Really bad comedies?
Does that make sense?
You must have just done a movie Monday too, right? Like I didn't see the whole video. I was watching some, but I ended up getting pulled away. I was pulled away. But but like, so what movies did you review the last time?
So this week I did this movie called The Caller. And the only reason why my movie Monday's a bit different this week is because it was Valentine's Day. And how many times are people like, I don't know what the hell to watch, you know, and you're just sitting there passing back and forth the Netflix thing. And I always think horror is so sexy to watch on Valentine's Day. So I recommended also 3. My recommendations were, and like I went on 3 different tiers. And you're going to get this because there's different people out there, right?
Okay.
So number 1, I was saying Urban Legend. You remember that classic like 90s one?
Yeah, okay.
And again, the twist at the end has to do with like love and revenge anyways, and like it's sexy. Yeah.
All right.
So,
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with this.
I was
Okay,
like,
what's
Valentine's
number
Day,
2?
that's a hot one. Number 2, I went with Haute Tension, High Tension.
Okay, Haute Tension, je ne sais pas. What's this movie about?
T'es jamais vu celui-là? Oh,
No, I have never really
so
seen it.
good.
Zen.
So good. So it's a French horror movie. But it's one of these crazy movies. Did you ever see Saw? Obviously, the first one.
I mean, I didn't watch any of them, to be honest, but like I know what it is. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't really watch a lot of horror movies. What do you want? Like, okay, they get slaughtered.
Okay, you gotta see the first one. Okay,
really?
no, because
Okay.
there's like the massive twist at the end.
Oh.
And this movie, Haute Tension, is just a lot of violence, but it's like these 2 girls, and there's kind of like a weird love story behind it, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on? It's a bit of a brain trip. So I was like, number 2, this is for the people that want something a bit more gory. People who are into that auteur cinema, I guess, something a bit more.
Wakata. Okay, maybe that's for me.
There you go.
For sure.
Very good film. Yeah.
I'm Belgian.
Plus it. I love it. And yeah, first one I went for, what do you call it? Torso. Torso's an Italian horror movie.
Torso.
Super slutty. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's great. Yeah.
If it's
Well, a lot of boobies. Right? 2 thumbs up.
No,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to say nice. No, I'm not going to pretend though that I don't like that. Okay, well, I'm choking maybe, but strangulation might be a bit far.
Well, it's cute. He uses this like silk thing, and anyways, you got to see it. It's
How
good.
sweet.
Yeah.
So it's
Loves them
sexy
to
strangulation. We were
Yeah.
dancing and I strangled her. Okay.
What? She asked for it.
We were dancing and there was boobies and strangled her with a silk scarf. Okay.
Perfect.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cool.
Yeah.
So you were looking for kind of like sexy horror ones to go forward. You know what?
I was just trying to, Valentine's Day, right? You just kind of want to be like, hey, if you're bored and don't know what the hell to watch, these 3 are pretty good. You know?
Hell yeah. I know what you're saying. That works. I was going to say too, maybe I'll suggest something to you that's maybe outside of the, I don't know if this counts as a horror movie or not, but it's a black and white movie, Japanese, of course, because everything I'm watching is Japanese lately, so sorry. But it's called Oni Baba, which Oni is like a demon and Baba is like a grandma. So like Oni Baba is an old woman. It's somewhat of an old folktale rethought in this thing about these women in feudal Japan where there's a bunch of samurai at war all the time. They live in like a grass hut in the middle of nowhere, all this fields of grass, and they make their way by like ambushing, killing these samurai that wander away from the pack of the battles, essentially, and then they sell all their armor and swords and stuff. And then one of their old friends who used to live nearby shows up, and he's a guy. And so essentially, there's these 2 women. One's an older woman, one's a younger woman. She was she's the mother-in-law. I was gonna say belle-mère, like I'm supposed to say it in French or something. Mother-in-law of the younger woman, and the son never comes back from the war, and so now their buddy's there. He's back home alone, and he's trying to get things going with the younger woman, and the older woman not too happy about it. So that's the premise. Essentially, we get it gets into a horror genre because there's a whole like scary demon mask that gets involved in this kind of thing. So I won't tell you everything, but maybe check out Onibaba.
What year was it? Ish?
Oh my God, ish. Well, when was things black and white? It's probably the 60s or 70s,
okay.
maybe. Yeah.
Nice.
It's an older movie, so I'm not going to say like you're not going to be scared or anything like that, but the movie starts with there's a big hole in the ground in the tall grass, and it says like it is a hole or something like that, and it's like it has been there for it is ancient and dark, and it has been there since thousands of years, and then we kind of go from there. Like it emanates darkness in this area, sort of is what they try to give you that feel. So
I love movies like that. I love like give me something to think about. Give me something that's just gonna like be weird and creep me out visually. I love that.
And the visuals are great. I think the filmmaking's really cool. The angles are great. The lighting is great, and there's a bit of sexuality in there as well. And yeah, it's got that sexy side. It's got the scary side, and also the human drama side. So I thought it was. Yeah. I've always liked it.
Have you hit up Uzumaki yet? Have you watched that yet?
Uzumaki, I think you told me to check it out, right? But I have not seen it. I've not had any time to do anything. I've been thinking about this and thinking about Japanese, and I've been thinking about training. So that's like been my focus. I've done no other things, but no, I haven't seen it. So sorry. I should see it, right? You want me to see Uzumaki? I was going to say,
I mean, it's Japanese. You can do your learning at the same time.
Okay. Uzumaki. I should write it down.
I just let me know what you think about it. Yeah, and I'm going to check this Onibaba.
Onibaba. Okay. So you know what? Look, I'm doing it right now. In my Japanese notes that I have, I am going to write.
Do you write in Japanese?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry.
You seem like you're angry with me.
Whoa. No, I'm just whoa.
I'm pretty crappy though. Like I can do in Japanese there's 3 different writing systems. One of them's kanji, which is they're derived from the Chinese characters, and one of them is that's like the main thing. One of them is hiragana. You generally use that for like sounds and particles and that kind of stuff. Like most words have a kanji and then some of that. Like, have you ever heard of you've seen Karate Kid, right?
Yeah.
He calls him Daniel-san. Okay, so the san part is it's like saying Mr. or Mrs. person kind of thing is what san is, because you could say, I'd be like, you're Vicky-san, right? And I'm Riku-san. So san would be in hiragana kind of thing. So it's phonetic, essentially. It's sounds rather than a picture. So kanjis are pictures, hiragana is sounds, and katakana is usually used for words that have been brought in from outside languages, like I don't know, like
cell phone.
Cell phone, yeah. Well, cell phone is keitai denwa, so I don't know why they have a word for that, but no, like baseball or something, beisubaru, or McDonald's makudonarudo, something like that. It would be written in that. So the katakana and the hiragana, since it sounds, I understand it like an alphabet, so I was able to get there quick. But the kanjis, where there's like 50,000 kanjis, and I think you have to know at least like 2,000 to be able to get it. And then when they combine, they make different sounds and stuff, and there's a special way to write them. So I know like 100 of those. So I'm not going to say yes, I write in Japanese. No, I fucking don't write in Japanese. Wow. I'm just doing my best.
That's crazy.
Okay, wait. I didn't even write it. Uzumaki.
Fucking pull yourself together. I'm kidding.
Uzumaki. This just feels like it's sushi, but okay.
Right?
Uzumaki.
Uzumaki.
I got it.
Yeah. I hope so.
Seriously, I got it. Don't worry. We're good. We're good. Man, I feel like I have kept you for a really long time. I would yammer at you forever. You told me you're hungover from blackout drinking. And I'm like, we're going to talk forever about nonsense movies. I barely asked you anything about masks because we already talked about it before.
It's okay.
No,
I've had fun, put it that way.
No doubt.
It
no
always
doubt.
flies by talking with you. Crazy.
Absolutely. I really enjoy it. And is there, of course, I have Makeup Billy written above you this entire time. So people know that that's where to find you, like on Instagram, on YouTube, on anywhere. I think you're at Makeup Billy. And I didn't ask you this though. Makeup Billy.
What?
Is it like Hillbilly, but makeup? Or do you have a different...
So I'll make you laugh. I used to be called Macabro Productions.
Okay, Macabro.
Macabro. Well, like I went Spanish because in Quebec, if you want to get incorporated, you can't have an English name.
Wakata. It means I understand. Sorry. Yeah.
Keep going. You're just full on Japanese into me, and I'm like, yeah.
Full on Japanesean. Okay, so you're Macabro.
So I was Macabro for a while, and then I was like, you know what, this doesn't work. Like, I'm not just like a business. It's me. I'm the artist. I'm making these things. And I was sitting there, and I just remember I'm big into like rockabilly music. I love the Stray Cats. I love like that kind of like that vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I had that phase, you know, pit up kind of look, and I was like, you know what?
Nice
Makeup, but Billy. So it's right. I was like, it works.
Rockabilly makeup person.
But that's me with makeup, you know? And like, if you look at the definition of rockabilly, it's like, you know, being into that whole genre of things. So for me, it's like, I do everything with makeup. I'm not just a one-trick pony, you know what I mean? I'm down with all the spooky shit in between.
I'm not just a one-trick pony. I'm rockabilly and makeup.
Come on now, let's do it.
My pony. Well, I'm just a bachelor. I loved that song when I was a kid. Wow,
it's so
wow,
good.
now. That's unbeatable. That wow. Whoever decided they were going to do that and make that the bass was like a genius.
I wish I was in that room. I know.
Imagine. Do you think about that often? Like being in the room when something was the first time that it happened, like with music or with movies or whatever. I think about that all the time. Like if like, what did the producer when they first like walked into that club or whatever, and then it was Guns N' Roses was there, you know? And they were like, hey, they hear Axl screaming and they hear, you know, Slash playing the guitar the way that they did or something like that. And they were like, yeah, I think I'm going to make $1 billion like off of these guys. You know, like I wonder what that's like. These are the ones. Yeah. Do you ever think about that?
I'm always like that though. Yeah, I always break down ideas way too hard. You know, like same with watching a movie where you're just like, fuck, like, but why? You know, like you just want to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm always like that.
Yeah, I'm totally with it. Yeah. I do that too much. But sometimes I do that too much with the story, like as if it's supposed to be real, kind of. Because like the Japanese show that I was telling you about, which is like My Husband's Penis Doesn't Fit. I'm like, okay, you guys have been together for a while. They tried like baby oil and it's still too big. And I'm like, okay, you didn't think about lube. You haven't talked to a doctor or something. You're not thinking about, what about put one finger and move to 4. Like, I don't know, do something.
Put your fist in her. Come on. No. I went too far. Sorry.
You didn't. Not for me. Like there is no too far. I wrote a book where a Sasquatch has sex with a Viking.
That's true.
Yeah. And, well, actually, technically, that sex is not Sasquatch. It's a different thing. Oh. They're called Alamasti. It's like a Russian cryptid Sasquatch kind of predator type person. And so yeah, I made a whole thing about that where they're a little more gorilla-ish than a Sasquatch would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I was being clever. Anyway, it's so
Oh
no,
my
yeah,
god.
no, but so yeah, I do that kind of thing. I'm like, so yeah, what? They never thought of that or whatever, or like, anyway. But
Mhm.
that's not the point of the show. It's not the point. The point is what's gonna happen and how are they gonna work this out? And she's had somebody who is smaller and it fits, and he's had somebody who was wider and it fits. So now what's fair, what's not fair in this situation? I think nobody's to blame. This stuff that's what it's about. That's what it's about. But I'm like, yeah, come on, man. You could have. How were you going to have a kid or something one day? Like, you were planning to have kids. So if your vagina's too small for this guy's baby arm, how are you going to get a whole baby out of this? So now you didn't take it too far, as you might have noticed from the things I just said. So yeah, no, you're good. You can go like as far as you like. This is Ragged World. Welcome, now audience. Welcome to the Ragged World. You've realized you have come
You've just
into
been introduced.
Boom. That looked like facepalm body slam. Boom.
It's like the 5 fingers straight to the face. Remember when he did it with douche? It was like a double down.
Yeah. Slap. It's such a stupid joke too, right? What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Blam! Blast somebody in the face. And that's the joke.
It's still to this day, it kills me.
Oh, for sure.
I wonder how much of it was truth. Like when it comes to Rick James's personality, I think Charlie Murphy did a great job talking about it. Like I believe.
I think so too. Yeah, it was Dave Chappelle's show back in the day. Everybody loved that. I think everyone was saying I'm Rick James, bitch. I actually have a hard time. I think it's because of that show. I have a hard time saying I'm Rick Rags without saying bitch. Like I'm Rick Rags, bitch. Ricky Raggedy, baby.
Yeah.
Like. Rick
love
James, bitch. That was good. It's not my favorite Dave Chappelle use of the word bitch, though, to be fair.
No.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not my favorite. I feel like, yeah, okay, I get it. Rick James, bitch, very funny. However, it was from a old an old set that he did way back in the day, talking about how he didn't want to get too famous because then it would be hard to date. He would never know if people liked him for him or if they just liked him because he was famous or had money. And he said that what he would do is he would get makeup. So this actually comes back to masks, believe it or not. He would have makeup and everything, and he'd show up in a fucking garbage truck, right? And the girl would be like, "Get that thing off my block. Ain't no trash need to be picked up here." And then I'd take my mask off, and he's like, "Oh, David Chappelle." I was like, "That's right, bitch." So that's my favorite Dave Chappelle bitch. I don't know. That's right, bitch.
That's so good.
He set her up for that, though. I mean, it's not fair for her.
He's so good. I love him so much.
Yeah, he was good. I don't know. I feel like it was less crazy even than what was possible. Because you're talking about 80s pop stars, doing cocaine all the time. Hanging out at Area 51, or Area 51? Studio 54. Jesus Christ.
Studio 54.
Maybe
they
it
hang
was
out at Area 51, okay?
Wouldn't that be so much? They're like, yeah, that's what we used to do.
Someone's bringing the blow. We're going to Area 51.
It's like aliens and coke. And
is this real?
They're accidentally like death raying the moon. And
Whoa!
I'm like, whoa, yeah. Them and the president, like Nixon's head is there, and or like JFK's chilling. His reanimated corpse is making it happen. But yeah, anyway.
So good.
Yeah. Sorry. That kind of
okay.
Lost my
Never
mind.
Apologize.
Totally. Never. I will never apologize. I'm like walking around outside. Vicky told me, like knocking old ladies to the ground, into the street, hit by a bus. I'm like, nope. I'm in no way sorry about this. So anyway. Okay.
Oh,
You're probably out of time. I'm sorry if I've
my
taken up.
cheeks are killing me from smiling so much.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad
you're a
that.
funny one.
Oh well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You too, by the way. This is great to have a conversation where I could hear you, like, yeah, in real
I'm
time.
so happy.
It
I
was so good.
know.
It was so good. And honestly, the artwork that you do is great. The fact that you find
Thank
beauty
you.
and you create beauty through creating ugliness, through skill and through training and through 10 years of experience and just through the hardships and craziness of life too. I think it's a lot. It's something that anybody should respect and should also maybe take a page from your book if they have a thing that they wanted to do that way. I mean, I know I do. I learn things when I talk to you for sure about because I obviously I know that you're like a self-improvement type person. You like to grow and go forward, but still hang on to what was good from the past as well. So all of that stuff, I mean, it's so great to talk to you because of like that mix of things. So of course, whenever I said it before, I'll say it again, whenever you want to come on, if you feel like having a dumb conversation about mostly nonsense and then sometimes deep topics, please go ahead. And yeah, I'm going to write the producers of that Japanese show and be like, Fister already.
Please do for
Yeah,
me.
it's going to happen. Vicky says, Fister already.
Yeah, just fist or draw it though. Like a stick.
I'll draw some kind of apparatus.
Yeah, no wait, what's that glove with all the stones on it?
The okay,
It's
wait,
not
it's
the power glove.
the Infinity
You know what I'm
Gauntlet
talking-
from
Yeah,
Thanos. Is that the deal?
just yeah. That's the way you would have to portray it.
Man, I used to thought I was so cool because I knew about that, like in the 80s and 90s kind of thing, because it was the comic books, right? And that's when those things was when literally everything that we watched came from. And then now it's like a thing. So I'm like bitter a little. Like
You're like, I was cool before it was cool.
yeah, it's just like
I love that.
there's a cover that has like all these lines that cross each other from each stone kind of thing, and it's Thanos there like doing like this kind of, and it's like that's the Infinity War, one of the famous Infinity War covers of comic books, and so on. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, now everybody knows, so whatever, I guess. It's fine. Yeah, sure. You know about it too. Great. There's a kid's toy. There's a big, huge fist. Those ones are always the joke. The proctology joke or something is either the Hulk fist or the Thanos fist. And they're like, Mr. Johnson, time for your proctology. And then your exam. And like, oh, gulp. So, what am I even talking about? Okay, enough.
Fisting.
We're talking about fisting.
Yeah, sometimes. No, I had so much fun. I'm so glad that you were down to even try this again. I know the first time we did this, it was such bullshit because my internet was like forced to dial up.
Yeah, you were in a cave for
There was
sure.
like some person on a bicycle. Like,
I was just like, she's in a bunker.
yeah.
Grandma, like paddle faster. Can I have some water? No.
Just sip it over.
So yeah, no, you were definitely glitching, but no, I had a good time even then, and especially after when I was listening to the cleaner audio, and I was like, oh man, she had so many great things to say. I was just wishing that I could have kept more of it, but it was too glitchy at some point. But like, no, I had a great time. I totally wanted to. I was hoping we would get a chance to do it again. Actually, when I got the email, I was like, yes, we're gonna do this a second time, a round 2. There is no Mortal Kombat without round 2. So is that profound somehow?
That's pretty deep. Yeah.
There is
knowledge
no
is
Mortal Kombat.
power. Like,
you know what? Knowledge is potential power. I get, see what I mean by little things? I'm sensitive about it. I'm like, no. Did you ever see Game of Thrones at all? No. There's a section
I probably
where
should.
well, yeah, there's some wild stuff in there you might enjoy, but not that you only like wild stuff. I think I think that's probably a misconception though, like, oh, you only like this or that, you know, so I apologize if I did that to you. But there is some wild stuff in there that you might like. One of the things though is there's this section that I loved because I always thought about this. It's like knowledge is potential power, because if you take no action, the knowledge is not really giving you any kind of benefit, right? So in this, there's a scene where the queen and her like advisor kind of guy are talking, and he alludes to knowing like so many things about her, like they have this whole thing going, and he knows all the secrets, right? Because that's like his thing. And he's like, and remember, my queen, knowledge is power. And then she goes, it's like, guards, kill Littlefinger. And they all come around and point their things. It's like, hold up. And he's like, no, power is power. I was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, bitch. That's
pretty good.
Yeah. So I was like, that's right. If you can't act on it, doesn't matter, man. TV show guy.
TV show man.
Yeah. So thanks so much again. I hope everybody in the world sees your artwork and wants to buy it. I don't know. Cute. Sure,
I'm stoked to share this. I can't wait till you put it up. And like, I don't know. I'm excited for you too. You're gonna keep getting wicked people on here. You're gonna keep picking their brains. You're good at that.
I hope so. Well, thank you for saying so. I appreciate it. I do my best. I'm always trying to improve. So, you know, if that's really the whole thing. If I can get good at this and talk to cool people and understand where they're coming from, that would mean a lot. That would mean a lot to me. I think it's meaningful to me. It's my quest for knowledge and beauty.
Yeah.
And essentially, adventure is more the travel and lifting weights and doing things like that. But this is part of like my quest for knowledge and beauty. So thank you for coming on this ride with me. I certainly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So, hey, you know what? Let's shut this thing down, because otherwise it's going to go on forever, and I probably already wasted too many hours of your time. So,
yeah, I gotta go stab myself with more fish hooks.
Please do. Please do. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, this is fun talking, but when is this chick going to stab herself with some fish hooks? I was like, come on. It's what the people want to see.
Hey, was it Rule 34?
Yeah, that's true, right? If there's a thing, then it is. Did you ever see the movie The Interview? It's Seth Rogen and James Franco.
Yes.
They go to and there's a scene that I love where he's like, people don't want to see that kind of shit, and it's like, people love the shit. He's like, manja manja manja. I'm people. Give me the shit. Manja manja. And I was like, yeah, he's right. People don't care. They love it. So yeah, for sure. And the Rule 34 is that if it exists, there's a porno made of it. Is that the deal? I learned that only recently, by the way. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a month ago, maybe something. Like, it's not a new. I've heard the term, like, it's Rule 34, ha ha ha. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. And then I was like, what is rule? Typing it in, like, what is Rule 34? Like some old grandma. And then I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, I already knew that. I was like, there's a porno. Yeah, of course. I know. I wrote one.
They'll slap a rule on it.
Yeah. Now it's got, labels. Yeah. These kids today and their labels. So, yeah. Anyway, so, okay. I promise you, I'm going to let you go. So, okay. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening.
Thank you too.
Take care. And again, well, ciao, ciao.
See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye. Cut.
Bye.